Danfo offers unparalleled, curated, and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds, and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshe traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, fam. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe as well. I will greatly appreciate it. Got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one. Hold on, let me turn this down. There we go. All right. Announcement number one. We are rolling to Zanzibar and Kenya. We are rolling to Zanzibar and Kenya next month. So if you're interested in joining, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa to learn more. We would love to host you on one of our many excursions. Again, we'll love to host you on one of our many excursions, y'all. Hopefully that makes sense. Come and join us and have a great time in Africa with us. I gotta update that. You know, the Oshun Festival already that already passed. I gotta update that. But I love that video. I love that video. Sister came with us. That was back in 2025. This clip right here. So I gotta put some footage from 2026 on there. I just gotta because I've been shooting a lot with my iPhone. And so I haven't really been shooting I've been shooting primarily, I guess that'd be considered portrait and not necessarily landscape, but you know, even the I could still use the portrait, you know, versions of the photos of the videos on the site. But you know, I kind of like the landscape, the look of it. But you know, we'll figure it out, y'all. We will figure it out. But again, please hit that like button. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe and join us. Join us where we're going. You know, we're going to Kenya, we're going to Zanzibar, we're going to next year we're doing South Africa, Namibia again, also Senegal, go to Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival. So yeah, come and have a great time and join us in Africa. Again, come and join us in Africa. Also, while you're there, click on the documentary button or link and buy the documentary. Again, while you're there, click on the documentary link and buy the documentary as well. Shout out to Uptown Films, not 4398. Greetings from San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California. I'm from Sacramento. So shout out to NorCal, everyone. Shout out to NorCal. But hit the like button, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. The reason why I'm doing this topic, I saw this interesting clip on X today in regards to the Mardi Gras Indians. If you guys are familiar with Mardi Gras, you know, they dress up as, you know, the Indians a lot of the time. You know, for the you know, the parade, the Mardi Gras parade, and just throughout the day, well, throughout the year, whenever they have their celebrations and their festivals. And some folks was like, well, we dress up like the Indians because we the original Indians. But let me we spoke years ago when I used to be with the Hebrew Israelite nonsense that I no longer subscribe to, like a YouTube channel. Oh wow, okay, well, yeah, we'll talk about that. But guys, so this is interesting. Let me play this clip real quick.
It is the greatest kept secret.
Hold on, let me play this clip real quick. And this is part of the reason why. And I said because being being African just isn't sexy enough. But he gave a reason why a lot of black folks disassociate themselves from Africa. Here we go.
Thing about Africa was forbidden.
There it is. There it is. But I'll put the link in the chat room if you want to call in after the conversation. Hey, if you disagree, you're more than welcome to call in and tell me why you disagree. But there it is. That sums it up. You know, I've been seeing this post lately. FBA, fear being African. There it is. That is why grandma, a lot of y'all grandmas tell y'all that y'all was Indian. It's right there. Because you have to mask being African. Because again, being African just isn't sexy enough. And you're right. There's always grandma saying this, but not grandpa, right? I don't know why grandma's always saying it. But guys, links in the chat room. But let me find my Don Cheadle and Tina Turner Louis Gates clip. Now, this is hilarious. Here we go.
But most of the former slaves entered the Reconstruction era with unparalleled hope. They were eager to build new lives in the South.
Did you think that you would live your whole life in Tennessee?
Oh, no. I knew I wanted to go somewhere because I didn't like the cotton fields.
One of the first songs that you wrote, I believe, was entitled Nutbush City Limits.
That's true.
Could you sing it for me?
Church house, gym house, dun, schoolhouse, house. Highway number 19. People keep the city clean. They call it Nutbush.
Music legend Tina Turner grew up in Tennessee, where her great-great-grandfather Logan Curry had been enslaved. Like most former slaves with no financial resources, Logan had little choice but to remain on the plantation after he was free. Yet he wanted to make one thing perfectly clear. He was now the master of his own fate.
This document is dated January 6, 1866, and it's a labor contract.
Right.
Now, we've searched post-Civil War labor contracts up and down, looking for as many as we could for every guest in our series. And this is the only one that we've ever found. The only one.
The said Jesse Carey, on his part, promises to furnish the above named free
To create Flags Grove School.
I went to Flag Grove School, elementary school. Great. Just great. Wow.
By the time the century drew to a close, the United States government had turned its back on our people all over the South.
You are 33% European.
Really?
I'm 50-50. To my heart,
Yeah.
the chairman of African American Studies at Harvard at the time was a half a white man.
Yeah. Wow, you're kidding.
There's a lot of sneaking and creeping back there on the plantation.
I guess. I guess. Oh my
belonged
goodness.
to Tina Turner. Her family reports indigenous American ancestry.
Here we go.
Tina grew up believing that two of her grandparents were part Native American.
But you're only 1% Native American. You know how your family has always thought that you had all this Native American heritage?
Yes.
It was white heritage. that you had.
All this time I've been thinking Indian. I was dying to find out what tribe it was.
You're from the tribe of Europe.
Native American.
Hold on.
Indigenous American ancestry.
Plantation.
I guess. I guess. Oh my
belonged
goodness.
to Tina Turner. Her family reports indigenous American ancestry.
Tina grew up believing that two of her grandparents were part Native American.
But you're only 1% Native American. You know how your family has always thought that you had all this Native American heritage?
Yes.
It was white heritage that you had.
All this time I've been thinking Indian. I was dying to find out what tribe it was.
You're from the tribe of Europe. Your results are all over the map. We couldn't find an exact match, but all these are close and are all possible.
All right, there you go. And there's more, but let's bring on Chris and M. Go ahead, Chris.
Man, see, the thing is, man, that black masking, I don't know who that dude was, but he's lying, man. It's the other way around.
He's literally over the whole Mardi Gras. He's the head chief of that of the Mardi Gras Indians in New Orleans.
Nah, man. Because
I mean that's who he is, Chris.
My folks is from New Orleans, man. Nah, man. That ain't true, man. It's the other way around. It was illegal for us to do the Indian thing. So the black masking, all the Zulu parade, all that's how they got away with doing it. It was the other way around. We weren't nobody hiding the African, they were hiding the Indian.
Hey, Chris, I'm just going off with the person that's head chief of the Mardi Gras Indians is saying. I mean,
Hey, I know you would cherry pick and find somebody.
I'm not cherry. I mean, he's over the organization, Chris. I'm sorry, bro. I mean, Chris, would you like to take a DNA test?
A DNA test?
Yeah, like Tina Turner. You want to take a DNA test like Tina Turner?
Yeah. So lying. Henry Louis Gates could tell me I'm African, even though he went up and did a whole lecture talking about how DNA testing is fake. Him himself out his own mouth. You can find that video too and put it up.
No, do me a favor. Find it. Put the video in a link in the chat room.
I can find it. I can find it for you real easy.
So, Chris, are you saying you're a Native American Indian and the head chief is lying and Louis Gates is lying and you're a real
Man,
Native
Louis
American Indian?
Louis Gates been lying. Louis Gates been lying. He is a sellout boule coon.
But you're saying Chris, you're saying you're a Native American Indian.
Not Native American. There were no Native Americans back then.
Okay, what are you?
I'm a Black American, but I have American Indian heritage.
What's American Indian heritage? What is it?
American Indians are the ones who the explorers saw when they first got here. You look up any historical documentation, all the depictions is going to be Black people. You will never see a Native American with that Asian phenotype in any historical documentation.
So why do they call them Indians and not Africans?
Why do they call them Indians?
Right.
Because that's what they were. That had nothing to do with no Native Americans.
No, but what I'm saying, Chris, when Christopher Columbus, when the Europeans first came to America, they called the people that were already here Indians for a reason. Why is that?
Now that part, I don't know where they got the name from.
Because they thought they were in India, Chris.
There was no such thing as India back then.
Oh my Lord Jesus!
There was no such place called India back then.
So the country today that we know of India, they were.
It was called Hindustan. It was called Hindustan.
But they called them Indians for a reason.
It didn't have nothing to do with India. It didn't have nothing to do with India. There was no such thing as India back then. It was called Hindustan.
Hey,
so that was a lie.
Can I jump in?
He wasn't lost.
Well,
nothing. He didn't think he was going to India.
He thought he was in the East Indies, and that's why he called
that. That was the lie. That was a total lie.
So they were lying.
There was no such thing as India. There was no such thing as India back then. You look on any map back then, there was no such thing as India. It was called Hindustan.
I'm just telling you what they said. They said they thought they were in the East Indians. It was a historical term from the Age of Discovery that broadly refers to South and Southeast Asia, including the Malay Archipelago and the Indian subcontinent.
Nope, that was a lie.
So they were lying.
There was no such thing as India.
So that's part of the cover up. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. It was called Hindustan. It was called Hindustan back then. So how do you think he was going to India? There was no such place called India.
So Native Americans are called Indians due to a historical navigational error by Christopher Columbus. When Columbus sailed west from Europe in 1492, he aimed to reach Asia for the spice trade. When
there was no such thing as Native Americans in the 1920s.
He called them Indians because he thought he was in the East Indies. So that's what I'm saying. Why did they call you guys
the West Indies? Yeah, the West Indies.
No,
where he got the name from. The West Indies.
He thought he was in the East Indies. That's why he said Indians.
No, they knew they were going west. They had a compass back then. They had compasses back then. So
but they were trying to find a different route to the East Indies, and he thought he was in the East Indies. That's why he called you guys. But again, my point is, they were in contact with sub-Saharan Africans, and they were in contact with present-day East India. So again, if they knew that you were black, they would have called you either African or Ethiopian. But they called you guys Indians for a reason, because he thought he was in the East Indies. So they knew. So what I'm saying is, they knew the difference between black folks and Indians. If that makes sense.
There was everybody that they saw was black. It had nothing to do. They even distinguished between, when they did bring Africans, they distinguished between the black Indians and the Africans.
No, they distinguished between the Indians and the Africans.
What you see as a Native American today, they came from the Pacific slave trade. Do you know about the Pacific slave trade?
Oh Lord.
You don't know about the Pacific slave trade?
How many
do you
slaves?
Know about the Chino slaves?
How many slaves are brought via the Pacific slave trade?
Now that number I don't know exactly, but I do know that the Spanish colonized the Philippines and all them islands around that. They brought them through the Pacific slave trade. And when they were called the Chino slaves. When they were released, they were allowed to be Native Americans. And they were also released all down through South America and Mexico and all that. That's why you see Mexican babies look like Chinese babies for some reason, because they do have Asian in them. Chino slaves. They were from the Pacific slave trade. They don't tell us about that.
But can you give me a number?
I can't give you a number right now. I'm sorry, I can't give you a number, but this is a fact. This is a total fact. And then the rest of these Native Americans, they came from the purchase of Alaska. Those are Inuits and Eskimos that they brought down here.
Oh, so they brought him down here.
Yeah, after they purchased Alaska. What, 1867?
What
Yeah.
was the Indian population in Alaska when they purchased Alaska?
I don't know how many of them it was. I don't know how many it was, but I do know what they are.
Okay. But what you're saying is this. Let me pull them up again. Give me 1 second. You're saying this guy is a liar.
A complete liar.
Okay, he's lying. Okay.
A complete liar.
Okay.
It was a whole other way around because it was illegal. You know what was going on in New Orleans at that time? They had this lady named Nancy Drake that was going through all of our records, changing everybody to Negro, changing all the natives to black. It was illegal. You could be punished by jail or even death for claiming.
Why would they change you to black when you said you were already black?
Because there was no such thing as black at that time. It was just it was Indians. Like the first classification that we had was Indian.
So are you saying that your people were reclassified
over and over again?
So then why, if you were mistakenly reclassified, why do you still consider yourself black today?
That's just about what we go by right now. But see, the definition of black is the problem. It's not actually calling ourselves black. It's the definition of black. That's the problem.
But they wrongfully reclassified you. So won't you go back to your category before you were wrongfully reclassified?
We actually can. All you gotta do is do your genealogy. You can actually go and get classified as an Indian all over again. There's a lot of us doing that.
But why do you consider to call yourself black if you were wrongfully put in that category?
Because I consider black to be our tribe. I don't consider Africans black. I don't consider Caribbeans black. That's all new because for years, up until Trump got in office again, nobody was calling themselves black. A Nigerian would say, I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. A Jamaican would say, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. This is all new. This is all gaslighting with everybody calling themselves black.
Right, but you were wrongfully categorized as black. So why would you continue to call yourself black?
That's what I was born into. My birth certificate says that.
But it's wrong though, right?
It is wrong. It is wrong.
Okay, so then you're not black.
You're right. You're right. I'm really not black.
Okay.
Nobody's black.
So right. So then you're not a black American. You're a Native American.
Not Native American.
Okay, you're Aboriginal American. What is it?
American Indian. You can say
okay,
Indigenous American.
You're Indigenous American. You're not black.
I mean, you can say it that way. You can say it that way. But as far as modern times,
cool.
I'm with the times. I'm not trying to run around with no feathers. I'm not trying to.
Well, ain't no time, brother. You said you was wrongfully reclassified. The government put you in the wrong category. So claim don't be black, don't be a black American, be indigenous, Aboriginal, Indian, or whatever it's called. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Ben. Let me pass the mic to Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
All right, thanks. A few points I want to make. So the first point is the term Native American. So that term was initially used to denote the colonists, I think in the 17th century, around that time.
Yeah, it was a political party.
And then it was reclassified to denote the Indians, quote unquote Indian, because the term Indians is supposed to be like pejorative. So that's one. So two, the term Indian, right? The etymology for Indian, I looked it up, and it's from the Latin Indianus, which means an inhabitant of India. So like what you said, when Columbus came to the US and saw the indigenous people or the people that were there already, they appeared to him as the people of India. Now, this is the issue I have.
There was no Indian.
Hold on 1 second. This is the issue. Yeah, but the word comes from the term Hindu, right? Hindus. That's where you get the word Indianus, and then it then descends into India. So my issue with Black Americans who claim the identity or the term Indian, my issue with them is How do you call yourself Indian when the main prominent feature that Columbus saw of the people that were here in America was that reminded him of the people of India was their straight black hair? How do they get around that? That's my main question. That so far I haven't found a Black American that can answer that. So that's my point.
Hey, Diners, I got kicked off by accident.
All right, we'll let if Chris can ask a question. If you want to answer that question, you can. I'll pass it in.
You never seen a black person with straight black hair?
I mean, after like a perm, yeah.
No,
Drew down.
The percentage of Black Americans with straight black hair is less than 5% of the Black American population. So you cannot tell me that is a representation of the general population of Black Americans. Because majority of Black Americans have, quote unquote, kinky hair.
Yeah, quote unquote. It's not the same as African hair.
Okay, whether it's the same or not, that's irrelevant. The point is, it's not bone straight black hair.
And he didn't never say it was bone straight. It could be a different. If I grow my hair out, it's gonna be straight.
With a hot comb?
Not with a hot comb. Not with a hot comb.
Yeah, but Chris, you keep avoiding the elephant in the room. He thought he was in the East Indies. He thought he was in India. That's why he called the people here Indians.
But there was no such thing as India.
Yes, the word India comes from Hindu. Ben just told you that, Chris. I mean, come on, Chris.
That's a modern definition, just like the definition of black. It don't.
I gave you the etymology. I didn't give you the definition. I gave you the history of the word, how it transliterated from Hindu to Latin.
So you telling me that Native Americans look like people from India?
They look closer to the people. Some people
closer than Black Americans.
No,
right?
No, nowhere close. Nowhere close. Nowhere close.
Let me pass the mic to M. Go ahead, M.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the platform and this excellent topic. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. First, I want to talk about how my grandmother is actually from New Orleans, but I heard I've never met her actually, but I went to the funeral down there in Arkansas. But my mother was the one that told us about the Native American side, but I never really saw it making a difference because we never really got any type of benefits from it. We didn't get any free tuition, any type of land grants. My mother always talked about how they were just taking our land, like her grandfather had a lot of land. They were just like that was rich and poor. They were just taking land. So it seemed like it was like a curse, and we didn't really get anything from being Indian. She just always mentioned it, and she made a distinction between the white Indians and the black Indians, and they didn't want nothing to do with us. But as far as I want to validate some of the things the brother before the other brother just talked, it's actually called the Indus Valley. It incorporates all of that land, like the Pakistanis, the Hindus, but the original people were called Harappians, and they don't look anything like the modern day Indian. Just like in the Greece, they had a culture called the Minoans, and both of these cultures was very similar. How they had running water and modern architecture, and they were black people. You can look it up. The Harappian culture, that was the original culture of the Indus Valley, and also the navigator for Columbus was actually a Moor, Alfonso Nino. So they knew black people, But the Indus Valley at the time, they called that during the early 1400s, that was the splendorous time of India. A whole different population than it is that you see now, which is like they call these people Iranians or Aryan people. And you still got the black Indians there, but they have a culture of a caste system in which they call them untouchables. So you got the Brahmin caste and all these different castes. So you don't know which Indian he was talking about, or was he talking about the Indus Valley? And also, when Columbus described the people, he didn't just say they had straight hair. He said they had various skin tones, bushy hair, straight hair.
Yep.
You know, they was red. They was to the blackest people. So he dude is just cherry picking his description, talking about just straight hair.
So
And I
Yeah,
know my best friend,
why do they
exactly.
call it? Why do they call them Indians? Why do they call them Indians?
because they allegedly, you know, this was the story they gave us. They was going to India to get
Right,
spices. And when
right.
they got there, they landed in Haiti or Hispaniola, which is still called the West Indies to this day. All
Yep.
Caribbeans are also called West Indians.
Why,
So
why, why,
nobody
why,
talks
why,
about them
why is it called the West Indies?
because they allegedly was going to get spices. That's the story that they told us, and you know, but it was, you know, they are still called Indians. All Caribbean, even the dudes
Mm-hmm.
that call here, they're called Indians.
So
But
are
nobody
Haitian
disputes
Indian?
them.
Are
Mm-hmm.
They're
Haitian
West
Indian?
Indians, all of them. All
Haitian or
Caribbeans are West
Indian?
Indians.
I've
All of
never
them are West Indians.
I've never heard a Haitian or anybody from the West Indies call themselves Indian. They call themselves
They're
Haitian.
West Indians. They're called West Indians.
It's
That's what they
called
call themselves.
no. They don't call themselves West Indians. It's
That's
called
what it's
Okay,
called, the West Indies. West
okay,
Indies.
but
But
let
The
me
again,
people of the
let me.
West Indies are West
but again,
Indians.
why is it called the West Indies? Because
I just told
Columbus
you
thought
why.
he was
Because
in the East Indies, and they're like,
look, it wasn't not Dinus. Columbus wasn't the navigator. It was Alfonso Nino Amor. Columbus was just the captain, and he was financed by.
and to add more insult to injury, whenever you guys bring up this the Moor played a role in Columbus getting lost. I don't know why you guys bring this guy up.
I mean,
Yeah, he did get lost.
Dinus. Well, Dinus. There's another theory that he wasn't lost. That
He
they knew they
wasn't
was coming
lost.
to America because when they defeated Moore, the last stronghold in Grenada, they found all of the maps. So it's just a story they told the world. It is just matter of fact. He just
Exactly.
stumbled across the land of milk and honey full of gold, and we just thought
Exactly.
we was in India. But let me say this though, as far as what he said about the Asians, the proper name is the coolie trade. When they were shipping Indian and Chinese people from Asia to the Western Hemisphere. And the reason I
Mm-hmm.
know about the coolie trade is because when I was studying the United States Code, they banned the coolie trade in the 1800s. They didn't allow Asians and East Indians to migrate here, but they was able to go to Canada and all of the southern countries or the Mesoamerican countries in South America. And this one, Queen Victoria created India. She was the queen. She was the empress of India, and also they had the Opium Wars with China when they actually took them to war for the right to sell them China white from Hong Kong, and the Qing dynasty agreed to ship these people to make up for the loss of the slave trade. This is shortly after Queen Victoria abolished slavery globally. They replaced the slave labor with Chinese and East Indian people. But the proper name for it is the coolie trade. But the last thing I want to say, if you could look this up, Dinus, if you could look this up, what I'm going to say, from the book Up From Slavery, when Booker T. Washington was a professor at Hampton University, his main job was to assimilate Indian children into American society. And there was a passage in his book in which he said the white people treated the Indian children better, even though they looked the same as us. The only difference
Yeah.
was they would have their nationality. He said that he didn't see any difference between himself and the Indians that he was teaching. This is in a book
Yep.
Up From Slavery. You could Google that. I can't Google it because if I leave this page, they're gonna kick me off the. But you could validate it. Booker T. Washington is a primary source. His job
Yep.
at Hampton as a professor was to teach Indian children and assimilate them into American society. He said they look exactly the same. The only difference is they have their tribes and their nations. So the white people treated them better. But as far as phenotypically, they look just like black people. That's what he said in his book.
Yep. And while
But
they
that's
were
my,
growing up, they had the other ones in Indian training schools.
I need you to cite the page number of where
I
he
mean,
said
go,
phenotypically that.
you
No,
could
I
Google
need
the passage.
I need you to cite the page number of where he said
I can't.
phenotypically.
I mean, he said they look exactly like us. He didn't say phenotypically. He said they look the same.
But you just said phenotypically.
That was my adaptation to what he said. That was my, what do you call it? I can't really speak right now. My vocabulary is kind of shot right now. But you know, that's just my interpretation of what he said. He said basically we look the same. The only difference was these Indian children had their tribes but they look the same as black people. And there was another situation that he talked about a Moor, a guy, not a Moor, but
I need the page number. He said they look the same as black.
You could just Google it. Somebody could Google it. I can't do it because if I do it, I'm gonna get kicked off. But that's cool though. But he said that
because the chapter is titled "Black Race and Red Race."
But you could just Google what I just said.
Well, I'm just saying. He said the following passage is taken from. I'm reading a passage. The following passage is taken from a chapter titled "Black Race and Red Race" in Booker T. Washington's autobiography Up from Slavery. It describes Washington's time as a house father to a group of young American Indians, mostly men, who had been brought from the western states to receive an education at the Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute of Virginia, a boarding school for African Americans that Washington had graduated from earlier. The mission of Indians was experiment. Few people then had any confidence in. Actually, Washington wrote, and his tale of the experience leads to other anecdotes that further highlight, as Washington really put it, the curious workings of caste in America after the Civil War. These stories were calculated to demonstrate the arbitrary nature of America's racial constructs and the injustice of hierarchies they sustain. I just need you to give me the page number where it says that they look just like us.
I mean, you basically validated what I said. He was teaching Indian children when he was a professor at Hampton.
No, but I need you to give me the page number. Said the Indians look just like us.
Hey, Dinus, I got the book at home, but I would have to drive all the way home. I'm kind of far from home right now, and I would have to get the page number, and then maybe another day. But somebody, you could just find it that he said when he was getting discriminated against. They treated the Indian children better. It's like similar to how when
no. I need yes. I need where you said they look just like us. That's what I'm looking.
That's what he said, but it's similar to what Muhammad Ali said when we was going through segregation. The African people, because they had their garb, they was able to go into white establishments. So the Caucasians treated non-black Americans better. No, they treat non-black Americans better, because they wasn't us, even though they were black. And it's a similar situation that they did with Indians.
I need the page number of where you said
I can't do it.
Washington said the Indians look just like us. That's all I'm
asking. He said, I'll give it to you another day. I'll find it and give it to you another day, but I can't do it right now because I'm driving right in, But you can find it, though. If you probably kept reading, or you could just get that context to AI and they'll pinpoint it. But that's what he said when he was a teacher at Hampton before he set up Tuskegee. But yeah, that's about it, though.
Dinus.
Go ahead, Sean.
Greetings. Are you back from Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, all right, cool. Hopefully we'll see some footage of your trip and everything, because it's always interesting to see what you do and stuff. This whole thing, man, is it feels like it's a propaganda operative generated thing that's going on. It's very strange. Not that we haven't, as when I was a kid, we would say we have Indian, especially if you had straight hair. I got Indian in me, right? But as time goes on, right, we begin to really look at that and go, what really is that about? Because to me, if you have Asiatic looking Indians that are speaking the language, and these are not $5 Indians. These are you can tell.
One second, Sean. Let me read this quote. Here it is right here. I never could understand how he knew just where to draw the color lines, since the Indian eye were about the same complexion. Yeah, well, Booker T. Washington was light skinned. He was mixed. So,
and even he looks like he's.
Come on, man. If he said the same complexion, he got that nose. Yeah. He got a very prominent African type nose.
He said complexion, but Booker T. Washington was okay. You do realize Booker T. Washington was half white, half black.
You see how he looked, but he looked straight up black, man.
Yeah,
just because you know what he meant. He basically said he don't know why they discriminate against them and not me. I mean, discriminate against me and not them. We look basically the same, but a complexion, whatever.
Because he's mixed.
So you moving the goalposts now.
You validated what I said.
Come on, man. He got that nose, man. You see his face. He don't look white at all.
He's mixed.
We got all types of light skinned people, man. Malcolm X light skinned. Look at Malcolm X nose.
Yeah, but
Like, they just
you
got a
got
broad
Africans
nose.
that are light skinned that are not mixed with anything. You got a lot of Igbos that are light skinned. They're famous for being light skinned, and they're not mixed with anything. So, but anyway, to finish my little submission, um, there's a lot of problems with this whole Indian thing because, like I said, you have these Asiatic looking Indians on the East Coast because it looks like the East and the Southeast and even the Northeast is where the claim is heaviest. We're not even going to talk about the disease that hit and depopulated. 80 to 90% of the population was hit with disease in the first. I mean, just imagine what COVID did to us with all the technology, with all the science that we have. So no, that is true. And then they took 300,000 out of the I want to say the New England area, but I don't know. It was on the East Coast to the Caribbean. You had hundreds of thousands that died, actually millions that died in disease, and it would happen in different ways. But aside from all of that, you can tell through the art. So I'm a dance with a concentration in ethnology. I have a BA in dance, and my concentration is ethnology. So when I went to Africa, to the Congo and Nigeria, I was there for studying the music and dance, and as well, Nigeria was also the spiritual tradition. But in studying dance, we find that the Native Americans across the United States have a similar type of dance, and it does not involve isolation and circular movements of the hip or the torso. It does not. It does not, and the music that they have is a very simple music. We have much more complex music, and the way that we use our hips, where we're and our torso, is indicative of West African and Central African dance. So that does not carry over. And then, for some reason, the Black Indians don't speak the language and don't practice the spiritual system or the aspects of the culture, while the Asiatics do.
Shaw, if I could stop you right there. So Chris, that Shaw, if you could ask Chris, like, what's his spirituality, what's the culture? If you could ask Chris, I'd like to know, Shaw.
Chris,
See,
where'd you grow up? Before you answer that, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Atlanta. Well, my
Okay.
folks from New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, and Texas.
Okay, so you grew up in Atlanta, so you didn't grow up in an exact area, but what? So then to answer those questions.
See, the thing is, when they say we were stripped of language and culture, they wouldn't talk about no African language or culture.
No,
they were talking about the Indian language and culture. See,
but why did the white ones have it though?
I think the problem is y'all are too stuck on this Darwinism and all this.
No. Why do the white or the
y'all really
Asiatic
believe in
looking
the out of
ones?
Africa theory, and so
Why
y'all
did the
can't get over.
Okay, but Chris, again,
y'all can't get over the fact that black people were indigenous to the whole world.
So Chris, our question is: so you were stripped of it, okay, whatever. So what's the language? What's the dance? What's the culture?
I think all them languages are basically gone for the most part.
No,
they're not gone.
Check me out.
They're not gone, sir.
You gotta check me out before you even cut me off. Those languages that these tribes are speaking were created by white people.
Okay.
They were put into Indian training schools. You can pull this up. All those border schools that they talk about, they were taught how to be Indians in them schools.
Why would they teach them how to be Indians and not Americans? They were trying to teach them how to be English, speak English, and practice Catholicism or Christianity. That's not. They weren't teaching them to be fake Indians. That doesn't make no sense.
Indian training schools
They're going to teach them to be pretendians in the schools. It don't make no sense, bro. And the ones there are ones that speak the languages, practice the spirituality. Other than the Lakota are known for speaking their culture.
Dinah's just validated that Booker T. Washington one of his jobs was to teach Indian children at Hampton University.
They were teaching
but hold on, the host is talking.
They were teaching the real.
But Chris, the host is talking. But Chris, it was to teach them to assimilate into American society, not teach them Indian
language. At the same time, they were teaching these
fake Indians, teaching them to be fake Indians.
No, they were teaching the fake Indians. They were teaching the Native Americans of today how to be Indians. At the same time, they were teaching us how to assimilate.
Okay, so Chris, with that being said, what was your language? What was your culture like?
I don't
foods that you
know.
guys eat?
I don't know. All I got to remind me of it is a picture of my great grandma on both of my sides. I got Cherokee on my mom's side, Choctaw on my dad's side, and so that's all I got is proof. You know what I mean, for right now, because I mean they couldn't pass it down. They
So the
legally
light
couldn't
skinned
pass it down.
Choctaw, those are not your relatives.
I could answer that question.
The light skinned Choctaw that they show pictures of today, those are not your people.
Those are not Choctaws.
I can answer that question.
But they speak Choctaw though. They speak Choctaw though.
Look, if you want me to answer that question, I
language
can
was
answer that
created
question.
by white people.
Oh, okay.
So
Do you know there's thousands of Indian words that's infused into American English that's not even over there in Europe? It's been infused into our language.
But you don't know none. You don't know none of it.
Hold on. So Chris, give me those words, Chris.
Man, just look around your city. Your city probably got an Indian name. All these roads, Chattahoochee, all these names of the states in Wyoming. Man, all these are Indian names. All these are Indian names. We're surrounded by Indian names.
Are those your Indian people, or are those the Siberian Indian people?
Miami is an Indian tribe from Northwest Indiana.
Exactly. All these names are Indian names. We surrounded by Indian names.
Anything that is existing now, pretty much you're saying is fake and it was made up. So any Asiatic looking Indians are they white? Or are they actually traveled across the Bering Straits and migrated into the United States? Or are they
immigrated? They immigrated
so they immigrated 10,000 years ago. Okay, into the United States. All right, 10,000 years ago.
Those the ones that immigrated 10,000 years ago was in Alaska and Canada, mostly.
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you.
Huh?
Chris, yeah, so you say that the language that they're speaking right now is fake and the names and all this stuff, right? So then why do you claim the term Cherokee?
Because those are real tribes. These are real tribes.
Oh, you know that's real, but the other stuff is fake.
I know where the switcheroo happened. I know what happened.
You need to do more studying about your culture, bro.
Maybe I do, but I know what happened and why we don't practice it today.
Well, but and all of that, you're still not black, right? You're not Black American. You are Choctaw. You're Cherokee. That's what you are. So why don't
the Racial Integrity Act by what's that guy name?
The Racial Integrity Act by
Walter Plecker. They reclassified the Indians into black and Negro or colored.
We know.
It's legal. It's documented.
But Dinah said that already. Dinah said since you know you were reclassified, but Grandma said that you was Choctaw.
And that's right. That's where I get confused. If you were wrongfully reclassified as black, then you're not black.
I mean, you got to look at it like this, right? There's an evolution. There's an evolution in terminology.
No evolution. You're acknowledging that you were wrongfully reclassified and that you was Indian. So did you not black? You Indian.
You got to look at it like this, right? Indian is a reclassification. That's what Columbus came with. So as far as if you want to, we got to get archaeologists to go in there and do what Chancellor Williams did, and we got to go do it. Sheikh Anta Diop. With what's the other guy, Sertima and Asher Quasey. We got to do the same thing we did for Africa. We got to do for America. We got to go dig into the soil and then get the bones.
So it's safe to say that you're not black and you're not Indian now.
We ain't none of that. We gotta go into the deep records.
So you're not black and Indian then. So what's the problem?
What I'm saying is when you look at it's like, say for instance, Africa, right? That's a term that the Roman Empire gave to that continent.
We know.
We don't really know. We don't know what the real name is. So in the meantime, we're going to say Africa until further notice.
Until we decide that we want to be called something else.
This is called positive law. We change when we get more information. When we get more. A civilized person, when they get more truth, you got to adjust. You don't just.
Africans know
Chris has already said that he was wrongfully reclassified as black, so he ain't black.
I mean, we are that because that's what's illegal.
That's the legal definition. You were wrongfully reclassified. So why?
Our legal definition.
No.
But yeah, I'm just
Our legal
confused. So the white
definition.
man, the white man, all this is fake, all this is fake, but the white man wrongfully reclassified, that's okay.
And
Listen,
Grandma
the
said that
legal.
we was Choctaw.
Yeah,
Through her
grandma said
Our
you was
legal.
genealogy.
Choctaw, so you ain't black, you Choctaw.
Listen. Our legal definition as black people in America is
You not
African
black though.
American
You
black.
need to mark
That's
Choctaw.
what we
You
are.
ain't black.
We are classified that by
No,
Congress,
but
not
again,
legislative.
you listen.
Did you know
You
that
were
Jesse Jackson was
wrongfully.
a
Because what
Cherokee?
they're doing is they're erasing African. They're trying to erase my
No,
And
ancestry.
that's fine. Let them erase it. I'm trying.
no. See,
Listen, I want
How
to
is it
support
erased
them.
if we're
I
called
want. I
African
want. I
American?
want.
What are you
I
talking
want.
about?
No, you're
Listen. I
not
want
though.
to. I want to support
That's
them.
what we are classified as
Right.
now.
No,
and see,
you're
Jesse
not.
Jackson was a Cherokee Indian.
But you know
He
that
was
you're not
registered
though.
card
Exactly.
carrying, getting a check every month.
But you know you're not because Grandma said you wasn't.
Jesse Jackson did
But
not
Chris, you're
classify himself
not
as
black.
African American.
You said you Indian. You're not black.
So was
I
Jesse
think y'all being
Jackson.
facetious, man.
I'm
So was
not.
Jesse
Y'all said
Jackson.
y'all
trolling.
roughly reclassified. So you're
Y'all
not black.
trolling at
You're
this
Indian.
point.
Yeah, they
You're
trolling.
not
I mean,
trolling. You said
No.
you.
So was Jesse
regardless of
Jackson.
what Grandma said, the law says we are African American black. When you fill out that application,
Listen, ain't no law. You are Choctaw, so
Jesse
I
Jackson was a
mean,
Cherokee Indian.
Walter Plecker
You're
was able
claiming
to
it.
was successfully by Congress and by the government to reclassify these people, and nobody was able to object it
right. So,
because we were
but
slaves.
again, stop. We got to stop being a victim. You've realized that you ain't
Oh man,
black
yeah, they
and you an
trolling, man.
Indian. Stop being a
Yeah,
victim.
man, I think
No,
you're trolling.
Be an
This is some
Indian.
If
old
you're
pan
Go
goofy shit
ahead.
right
Let me
here,
pass
man.
the mic to Quincy. Go ahead, Quincy. Go ahead, Quincy.
This is the pan goofiness right here.
Yeah. So look. I'm a Black American man. I'm not really I'm an Indian person. I mentioned beforehand. My dad did tell us that we had Indian in our family. It's just an observation. I do think it is either ironic or hilarious that we have our parents or grandparents telling us that we have Native American ancestry, right? And that's ridiculed, that's laughed at, that's just viewed, dismissed, all of that, right? But we know y'all want to claim Africa so bad and be African, but we know that's like centuries ago, right? There's not your grandma.
sir,
Let me finish. I was quiet. It's unless you're an African immigrant. It's not your mom, it's not your grandparents, it's not your great grandparents. All of those people are buried in the South or in America somewhere. But y'all go and do a test and you want to claim a whole nother country across the ocean and skip past the last 400-500 centuries to claim African. But not even we. But I just find it interesting that the people who acknowledge their Native American ancestry gets laughed and ridiculed when that comes directly from their grandparents.
Because Quincy, because it's all a lie, Quincy. That's why.
Hold on. So our parents and grandparents are lying.
Because Quincy, grandma is lying to you.
Hold on.
Grandma is lying. That's why.
You do know
grandma is lying, Quincy. That's why we laugh. Quincy,
so our grandma. Okay, look. Hey, Dinus.
This is like a living color, man.
Hey, Dinus.
The average Black American has more white admixture. What was it? Admixture than anything native. So that's
the average. But there are pockets of Black Americans somewhere in the South.
I'm not saying there aren't pockets, but those pockets are so few in between that it's just hilarious.
But based on what though? But if people call you up from those pockets and let me
DNA test.
Yeah, give me a second. But if people are calling you from those pockets and telling you their story, then why should it be dismissed if they're telling their story?
Ain't no story, Quincy. It's
more of a story than you saying you're Nigerian. It's more of a story than you saying you're Nigerian. You being Nigerian is a fairy tale.
That documents of paper and DNA.
Dude, they did a DNA test on a dog, and the dog said the dog was Nigerian. Come on, man.
Got all kind of proof and evidence.
Put the link in the chat room.
Right.
I gotta find that link. And the disclosure said that those DNA tests are for entertainment purposes. So what are we talking about?
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Oh, okay. Yes, not all of them, but the main with 23andMe or the ancestry DNA.
African ancestry. It is not for play games.
Okay, so you can believe those tests, but folks can't believe their parents and grandparents.
No, we believe your grandmother that you are Choctaw. We
No, no, no,
believe
no,
that you're
no. Hello,
Choctaw.
not me.
No.
No, no, no. I never claimed it.
Do
I'm
you have
saying
any
that the
African
people.
ancestry? Do you have
Yes,
any African ancestry?
once again, I
Did
have.
grandma say you had African
I'm answering your
ancestry?
question. I'm answering your question. I acknowledge the slave trade. I do have African ancestry. I acknowledge the white ancestry, unfortunate because of how things went back in the day. And like I said, I do have Native American ancestry.
Did
I
your
don't know.
family say that you
All right.
came from Africa?
All right,
Did
what
any
about
of your
this?
family members say you came from Africa?
No, but the slave trade happened.
You just
none
can't.
of them.
See,
But
the
they
that's the
said you
slave
problem.
had.
trade
You
That's the
came
happened.
problem
from.
right there.
You're
That's
a
the
Native
problem right there.
American.
The problem is.
Hold on, don't put
brother,
anything on
please.
me. Hold on. I started out saying that I'm not one of those people who say I'm Native American.
No, I just
but I
asked.
do acknowledge.
Did your grandmother or any of your people say that we got Africans in our ancestry? None of them said that.
I'm a black American from the South, my guy.
Okay,
I mean,
why
Lord have mercy.
acknowledge African ancestry you can't prove?
Well, no, mine didn't either.
You can't prove the African ancestry. If you do your genealogy and don't find any Africans, why would I say I have African ancestry if I'm looking at my ancestry?
No. The thing is, I don't. It's not a problem. It's not a problem to acknowledge African ancestry. That's not a problem.
But you don't have to.
But
Hold on. Let me play this real quick. I gotta.
What boat was you brought from? What boat? What was the name of your boat? Enslavedvoyages.org.
Hey Tony, you on your Getro, Tony. You on your Getro, Tony. You gotta call back.
Slavewarriors.org said only 400 something people came over here, man.
400s?
400 something people.
Three or 400,000. That's how many came.
No, if you look up right now and you look up the ships that came from an African port to the Americas, it only comes up to 400 something people.
Hold on.
What does ship
say? Yeah, but hold on though, because Quincy said something that I wanted to challenge, brother. If DNA tests are fake, how did DNA tests literally show me my actual cousins that I already knew was my cousins? How's he?
That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
How's it fake?
That's what DNA tests are for.
Yeah, did your cousins take the test too?
Yeah, Quincy.
Definitely.
So Quincy. Hold on. If I
Okay, they get go.
Wait, hold on, Quincy. So I found out I have a brother via DNA because I linked with his daughter, who's my niece.
Hold on. I never said DNA tests were fake. I said
ancestry DNA tests are fake.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's via.
I'm not talking about the DNA at the hospital.
That's via ancestry.com.
Forensic DNA. That's real.
Yeah. We ain't talking about the law uses.
Okay, so Quincy,
you don't get to cherry pick DNA. It's all.
Yeah. So hold on.
There's two different kinds. It's two different things.
The host is talking. So Quincy, if the DNA tests aren't real,
I never said they weren't real.
You said they were entertainment.
That's what
so Quincy,
in the fine print. That's what it says.
Ancestry DNA test is fake.
We can't listen to everybody at the same time.
If they're just entertainment, how did my DNA link up with my cousin, who's my cousin, on Ancestry.com?
I'm telling you what the disclosure says. That's what I'm saying. And if your cousin took it and you took it, then okay, all right, I give you that. But that's your cousin. How are you linked to Africa? Like, it's not pointing you to any, because all of these are modern day constructs of countries right now. None of these countries existed.
No. Okay, so Quincy, how it works?
Not one family member in Africa did.
Right.
Oh,
It's not pointing you directly.
Can I talk?
Okay.
Can I talk?
Sorry, you got it. It's your show. My bad.
Quincy, have you took an Ancestry.com DNA test before?
No, it's still sitting up in my room unopened.
Okay, so how it works? So you're correct. These countries weren't there, but these ethnic groups were. So it points you to where the ethnic groups were.
Okay.
So Yoruba, Igbo, Mende, Timne, they've been there for hundreds and thousands of years. They've been in the same.
And that's great. And that's great. And I once again, I said, acknowledging your African ancestry isn't the problem, because I do it as well. I'm saying ridiculing people who acknowledge their Native American ancestry, when that's more direct. That's in our recent history.
That's not
it's not direct.
It's our parents and grandparents telling us. What are we talking about? We don't have to take a test for that.
Direct. It's Quincy. It's my grandmama said. That's what it is.
Like
Quincy. It's not
folks.
direct.
Okay. Back to that. Hold on. Okay. Let me get one, Dinus. Let me respond. Let me respond directly to that. Let me respond directly to that, Dinus. I think, with all due respect, I think it's disrespectful to disrespect our elders and clown them and really and laugh at them for saying that.
That's the problem.
I think that's
If
disrespectful.
your elders are wrong, okay. So Quincy, you have elders and you have old fools. There's a difference.
No. Oh, see, you would never talk about African elders like that. You would never say that about African elders.
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. You have elders and you have old fools. Okay,
Dinus,
it is what it is.
Dinus, I said that it doesn't represent all Black Americans, right? I'm saying there are pockets where that is represented more and more pockets.
Where are the?
I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert.
These people, but Quincy, these pockets, these people are on the Dawes roll. They're either
That's not the overwhelming
They have act
majority.
like it's legit. Then you have my grandmama said what?
Yeah, okay, man. I think it's ridiculous to dismiss our elders.
Well, there's a reason why they said that.
No, it's not. It's not
No,
ridiculous.
it is ridiculous. No, y'all want to be African so bad that you disrespecting our Black American elders.
But I'm saying it's
disrespectful, bro.
To dismiss. In some cases, you have to dismiss.
It's ridiculous to call yourself Nigerian when your people from Mississippi. That's ridiculous.
Right,
you born and raised in California.
The Mississippian tribe, but he's an Indian for real.
Yeah, you want to credit everything to Africa when everything about you is from America.
Dinus don't even know.
We're not talking about our experience today. We're talking about our ancestry.
And I'm saying some people's ancestry is Native American, and y'all want to dismiss that.
He didn't disagree with you though. He said their
pockets.
No, he agreed with you that their pockets.
He ridiculed our elders and said they're old. He said something about old. That's what he said.
My grandmama said
your ancestry is not Native American.
Yeah, because my grandmama said.
Well, that's not the case for most Black. I can say most. I don't know. It's not.
Suppose you got two grandparents, one from Africa, one from America. The Africans sold you. Which one are you going to honor?
They're honor the ones that sold us.
Right.
I'm going to honor both.
I'm not honoring anybody that sold us. I'm
going to stand 10 toes down.
I got to pass the mic to Dre. Go ahead.
You don't have no grandparents.
I passed the mic to Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
All right, so what I would like to say about this is that I hear so many people making a lot of points, but I would like to debunk certain things about this argument in terms of the Walter Plecker. First of all, the Walter Plecker argument has, I think they said within that what they call Race Integrity Act, the Racial Integrity Act, it has no amendments. So the reason why they reclassified the Indians as Negro was not because they looked Negro. It was because he was trying to protect the integrity of whiteness. It had nothing to do with anything of looking Black or being Black. But I think people use that argument to try to justify that, just because they were reclassified, that means we're attached to them. No, it may have been a few Black people that may have intermarried with Native Americans. That does not mean that they're fully Native American. I think a lot of the times when people say stuff like that, they're trying to basically say that they have been cloaked into Native American identity, when in reality they may have been mixed in with Native Americans. That is not the same thing.
Dre, if I can interject real quick, sorry to interrupt. So I did look it up. It were mixed race couples.
The Racial Integrity Act. That's when Native Americans became citizens.
Chris, I'm talking, Chris. So it was mixed race couples. So it was Native Americans who were married to Black people. It was freedmen. And it was one other category.
Who had tribal memberships.
Say that again?
Who had tribal memberships. That's not the same thing as being full-blown Native American. So what they try to do is that they try to cloak it into saying that they're full-blown because of the memberships and because of intermarrying into Native American families and stuff like that. Or maybe I think some Native Americans took some freed people or maybe some enslaved people at the time. And then they made it seem like,
and enslaved them. Yeah, that's civilized tribes, enslaved African people. So let's.
What I understand about the Racial Integrity Act,
the 5 civilized tribes.
Hold on.
Africans.
Yeah, what I understand about the Racial Integrity Act, it was about the elites who said they had lineage to Pocahontas. Hold on. The white elite said their claim to America is because they are descended from Pocahontas. They said no Black person can be descended from Pocahontas with them. So they wanted to monopolize their lineage to Pocahontas to legitimize their claim to America. That's why they excluded all non-white people in the Racial Integrity Act. because their claim to America is
All
that
right,
blood.
go ahead, Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
Okay, so another point that I would like to make, as far as like a lot of these abos, try to do, as far as like trying to cloak themselves into that, is by saying that their grandma was told that somebody in the family had high cheekbones and silky black hair. Just because you had an ancestor that had high cheekbones and straight black hair does not mean that they're Native American. Not all Native Americans are that. So, or that doesn't mean they could be mulatto, which means is a mixture of European and African. That does not mean that they're going to be Native American automatically. See, I've been told the same thing. This is not a new story to me. I've been told I had Cherokee in my family. I've been told I had Coharie Indian in my family. This stuff is not new. So what I'm saying is that, like, just because you hear it from grandma or you hear it from certain relatives, that does not mean that you have that in your ancestry. It just means that they're going off of folklore or hearsay or something like that, but it's not verifiable in any way. It's just talk, all talk and no research. You got to go by the research and not go by just what you hear from your elderly relatives or whatever the case is, because they might not know everything. You just can't assume that just because they're older than you that they know everything about your family's ancestry or whatever, because they could be led astray as well.
And it was a survival. It was a survival method too, because the Creoles in Louisiana, part of their survival method was to be Creole and not identify with Negro or whatever they was calling us at the time, because you could own land then. You could, and you would have been treated better than just freedmen or black folks that had been freed. Even when they were slaves, they had Creoles that had land when there was slavery going on. So the black psychologist Dr. Joy DeGruy says that the reason we deny being African is because of post-traumatic slave syndrome.
And with
It's a
that being said,
behavior
I got to pass the mic. I got to pass the mic. But I'm gonna play this one more time. And I'm gonna pass it to Marie, the two Niger, the Mississippi. But let me play this one more time because it piggybacks on what you just said, Shaw. Hold on 1 second. Let me play this real quick. Wrong button. Hold on a second. Share screen.
It's culture. It is.
Hold on 1 second. And he says it at the end. Here we go. So there you go, Shaw, to piggyback on what you were saying. You know.
That's sad, man.
Yeah. But again, this is why. This is why part of the reason why Grandma said we Indian right here. All right, go ahead. Marie.
Oh, hey, Dinas. I think Two Niger was before me, so he can go. I don't
Well,
want to
okay.
take his turn.
That's up to you, because I was going to let you go as our moderator and our sister. But if you
Oh,
want to,
no. It's okay. I just want to be fair, so I'll just let Two Niger go. That's okay.
Go ahead, to Nigel.
Yeah, thanks, man. And that's Maury for just doing that. Greetings, diners and the panelists, the chat. I don't know how many times we need to tell people that there is no evidence that your ancestors were here prior to 500 years ago. I don't. If they were here, it was negligible. They have DNAs, they have graveyards, they have so many evidence of the people that resides on this continent, that resided on this continent before then. And how is this even a conversation at all? I don't know. The only area I see that the FBA has managed to do something, I feel, may have been essential, maybe it hasn't been done properly before now, was the idea of trying to say that the Black Americans are actually an ethnic group. That should be, even if it was implied, and I'm not sure that that has been done explicitly before. It's always been linked to Africa, but not directly stated that they are own ethnic group. And I think that is the only thing I would say that the FBA has added to the conversation. But this idea that you are from this continent, you have been here before the British arrived and the Europe Columbus got it. Just there's zero evidence. The Dinas has mentioned that his cousin was found using DNA. The technology that is out there right now is so sophisticated that if there was a way to find that Black Americans were here before Columbus arrived, he would have found them by now. is simply not there. Why do we just go on this area? And what makes this FBA seems a little bit sinister is that when they make this argument and say that they are their own ethnic group, they start doing something else. They start going after Africans, and they start even aligning themselves to Europeans. That tells you where he originated from, even if he has some grain of essential and this in act that they carried out that was important, like in terms of defining the saying that Americans are their own ethnic group. But that is how any deceitful system and psyop works. They come with something that they think you need, and then they use that to kind of do some serious damage. And that this damage is coming from the fact that we are literally debating something that has been settled in all communities. All communities, nobody's arguing this, that there were no
Man.
Africans here on the continent before Columbus arrived. And yet, this FBA has made it a discussion for over 2, 3, 4 years now. We've been talking about it as if it's real. And I like the video that Dinah's played just now,
Of
showing
course.
how grandma could have said what she said. She wasn't lying, but she didn't say they were here before Columbus arrived. So both can be true at the same time. I don't understand why we are having this conversation. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Marie.
Okay, hello everyone. Yes, I just wanted to say, you all know how I feel. I don't believe that we are Native Americans. I believe that we descend from West and Central Africans. And even my grandma, she said that in Virginia, in Culpeper, Virginia, that in our family, um, the first enslaved African in our family was sold in Culpeper, Virginia. So I don't believe that we're native, but I came in here to talk about the DNA testing. It is accurate because a lot of my family members, they showed up on the DNA matches. Also, Ancestry DNA, they have a new feature. If you go under like let me see, what is that called? If you go under like finding matches and then you click on regions, you can click on like Nigeria or Ghana, and then you put in like the percentage, and it'll show like your if you do have African DNA matches on there, it'll show like the African DNA matches, like the ones from Nigeria, Ghana. I just did it today and I found even more African DNA matches. I found 50 or more African DNA matches. For
Marie, do me
people,
Marie, real quick. What, so I'm on ancestry.com right now. So go where? Go to DNA or
oh, okay, let me go. Okay, so let me check. Um, okay, so you go under filters, filter DNA matches by,
okay.
and
Yeah, slow down, slow down. All right,
okay,
all right. So I'm on the main page right now. It says home trees, search memories, DNA.
okay. Oh, wait a minute, give me 1 second. So you will have to go under DNA
Okay, DNA
and hit matches.
matches. Okay,
And then there's like this, okay, so I'm on my phone. So there's like this little okay, where it says link tree to matches, it's this little icon underneath there where you can hit that and it'll say filter DNA matches by. And then you'll see like underneath there, you'll see unviewed matches, common ancestor,
uh
new
huh.
notes. Yeah, you'll see that. But then if you go underneath that, you'll see like you'll see regions. And if you
Okay.
hit regions,
Ah, shit. They want me to pay for the shit. Okay.
see, I have, okay, I'm sorry. So I have a membership. So I pay like every month for the membership.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I'm
I
able
gotta
to
pay
see
for it.
it.
Hold on. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm about to pay for it right now.
Okay.
It's 24.99. God damn.
Hmm.
Let me pay. I'm gonna pay for it right now. Cause so on mine it shows so on mine, let me go back to it.
I found that Henry Louis Gates video too, man.
All right, so on mine it shows regions you have: Nigeria, Central West Africa, Cameroon. So you're saying you click on like Nigeria and then
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, you'll click Nigeria, but then you have, after you hit that, underneath it'll say minimum percentage, and so where it says at least, you'll have to click and you'll have to put in the percentage. So I usually put 93 through 100, because if they're actual DNA matches, they're going to be either 100% African, but um usually I'll just put in 90 between 100. So I'll just put like 96, and I'll put you hit 96, and then you'll hit, let me just put 96 so I can 96, and then after that you hit the little check mark, and it'll bring up some DNA matches. Well, wait a minute, why is it not doing it? Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so then it brings up DNA matches, and I found so many Nigerian DNA matches underneath there. I have like, out of 50, I'll say I have like maybe 25 of them are like Nigerian DNA matches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's
so
amazing. That is amazing. Because the
yeah.
sister that owns AfricanAncestry.com, she said when she was being interviewed that they're getting more refined with being able to connect African Americans with not just populations, but specifically like even zeroing in to
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, can I make a comment real quick, if I could?
30 seconds. I gotta pass it to Miss Sisters.
30 seconds ain't enough. Go ahead.
And I gotta read these super chats.
All right, go ahead. 30 seconds ain't enough.
All right. Let me see here. Joseph Dennis 4251. Thank you for Fada Lahala. Many of our families were integrated to Native American nations during our time in chattel slavery. Many of us get that thought process from that. Enigma 3747. Thank you for Fada Lahala. Need the link. Robin Mutali 207. Thank you for Tina Lahala. Did grandma go to AME African Methodist Episcopal Church? All thought, thank you for 1999 holla. Been following you for years. Thank you for everything you do. You've got the toleration of a monk to put up with these people. FBA Young Lion, thank you for 499 holla. Tell the pretentious to name one reputable geneticist, historian, or other qualified scholar who has concluded that Black Americans are Native Americans. Checkmate. FBA Young Lion, thank you for 499 holla. Why do Black Americans have the highest rate of sickle cell trait in America? A genetic trait strongly associated with African ancestry. Diane 4946 1,000 Joules Goat Trophy. Mustafa $2. Who you gonna believe, grandma or DNA? FBA Young Line, thank you for 499 holla. Why are Black Americans?
I believe the DNA more.
Why are Black Americans concentrated in Atlantic and Gulf Coast regions rather than Central U.S. such as North Dakota, Montana, and Idaho, etc.? All right, go ahead, Miss Sisters. And listen, sorry about that. I'm not. I don't want to disrespect anybody's grandma. I know that came off wrong. Let me apologize. No, but seriously, we just because you have gray in your hair and your beard, that does not automatically qualify you as an elder, in sense of leadership.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's just the reality of it, But at the same time, I don't want to disrespect anybody's grandmother or grandparents or
But Dinah's
older,
grandma is
but
right.
hold on to Nigel, or
Based on that
older
video.
people. But at the same time, like just because you're a grandparent or have gray in your hair or beard does not mean you qualify in all subject matters. I don't know, because again, I've dealt with some elders, like I said, and excuse my language, Miss Sisters. Miss Sisters, you are more than welcome because you are the elder on this panel right now. You can correct me. There's elders and there's old fools. So, and Miss Sisters, am I wrong, Miss Sisters? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so because I have dealt firsthand with some old fools who will literally weaponize the fact that they're an elder in quotation marks, but they're they're really just an old fool and need to just sit down somewhere. But go ahead.
Well, no, I've just been following the conversation while I'm preparing to teach next week. Um, you know, all I just wanted to add to the conversation is that my great grandmother on my grandfather's side, she did share with the family that there was a member who was a part of the Cherokee tribe, and this was years ago. One of my family members, I think it was my cousin, tried to get information from the Cherokee tribe to locate that family member, and the tribe did write her back and said that the information wasn't available. So I'm not quite sure what that meant, if there were no records and they or if they just refused to disclose what it was. Um but I just want to share that we just don't have the data to say for sure that we don't have an ancestral link with some of these American native tribes. I was not able to track one down with my own research, but just because I wasn't able to do it doesn't mean that that someone else um, can't do it, or if they did, it doesn't mean that what evidence they have is not authentic. So that's all I want to say. Yeah, I'm just keeping an open mind about it, because lots of blacks, they did try and pass. It was survival, and it was either passing as white, passing as a Native American. So we're not sure what quite was going on there. And it, yeah, and I'm open to hearing anyone's viewpoints on this. I just don't know. Um,
Are you of
for me,
African descent?
what's that?
Are you of African descent?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah,
Hey, can I make a statement after you finish?
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
done.
can I
Go
ask him to
ahead.
make a statement after he after him?
All right. What I wanted to say was, and this is very interesting and relevant, is based on what the conversation about Walter Pleckert, and I actually know about it. It has to do with lineage to Pocahontas, and it reminded me of a conversation I was listening to with this lady that she used to call up named V from Ghana, and she was basically saying like it was men who came and conquered, and the women allowed them because the women had control over giving birth. Like the women has a lot of power over there, so they could get rid of the men they got and get a new tribe. You see what I'm, a stronger tribe, and that reminded me of the United States Code when it deals with birth. Like born, they call it a born alive infant has all rights, and a law, you got eternal law. Like just by being born, you have the rights to the universe. You got natural law, like the law of conquest and whatnot, the law of the sea. But it all deals with birth, the birthright, and every nation has women. In order for you to go to that nation and grow, you have to get their approval. You have to reproduce. I guess when the Spaniards went to Mexico or Mesoamerica, they got that by force and had children by domination. But you still got to go through that. And in the Bible, when I think chapter 9 of the book of Genesis, the God told Noah, he said, all that coming out of the matrix is mine. So the woman he called the matrix. In order for you to get to this planet, you got to go through the women. So that lets me know that these women, these black women, there's no way they brought enough women to America on no boats to reproduce all of these people. Like every nation has a woman. And the Walter Pleckert case lets you know that all these white people, they say they got a birthright to this country because of the woman, Pocahontas. You see what I'm saying? And why would these women in America give up their birthright? Like this is like their land. They determine who's here. Like even the Democrat Party, who do they cater to? The black woman. So even if you don't consider yourself Native American, whatever you want to call yourself, it's impossible for you not to be native to this land or indigenous because they didn't bring enough white women here to reproduce all of these people, all these black people. Like we couldn't come from white people. Like white men couldn't just breed with all
Man,
these black women.
stop, man.
Mostly white men.
What the hell you talking about, Man, stop it,
You got it.
man.
What I'm saying is
He's not making any
Oh,
sense with
man,
the lady,
what
like
is he
you
talking
go to
about?
Africa, right? Donnie, you go to Africa, right? Now in
Right.
Africa, you know good and well you cannot have any land there if you don't have a birthright. In order for you to have a birthright, you got to be born from somebody there. You can't just go over there and get land.
Just stop.
But
What do you mean just
even
stop? What are you saying?
Can I make a
but
statement?
You don't know what you're talking
even
about.
though but even though
You
they
just because
didn't
you
you
can't
say
understand what I'm saying. You don't have
Nah,
the intellectual capacity to figure out what I'm saying. How did all these black women get over here and have all these babies? They didn't bring all these black women over here on
I
no
just
slave
checked
ships. They reproduced all of them.
but they
slavevoice.org.
made
Hold on,
black women, white men.
go ahead, Marie. Go ahead, Marie.
you say that they may not have brought all these black women over here, but how our population increased is because of the breeding farms. So
Yep.
black women was having a lot of babies, and that's how our population decreased. Because I know a lot of native, well, pretendians try to use that line saying, well, how come, a lot of black women wasn't over here? They didn't bring a lot. So how did our populations increase? And so it was because of the breeding farms.
You need
Yep.
biodiversity. If you don't have biodiversity, your children become I ain't gonna use the R word, but you won't be able to reproduce after so much inbreeding. So you need like
Wait a minute.
unique DNA sources from different parts of the
Stop,
country
bro.
in order to
Stop.
reproduce
The
and
amount
sustain that
of black
population.
people that were here
I
Otherwise,
before.
you're
just
gonna be
checked
inbred.
slavevoice.
You're gonna be retarded.
I just
You're
checked
not gonna be able
slavevoice.
to. You're not gonna be able to inbreed for no hundreds and thousands of years
We got you. We got you.
without self
We got
destruction.
you.
The
I
amount
just
of
checked slavevoyages.org for the 400. Oh, they only brought 400 Africans, and checked slavevoyages.org. So I checked it, and that's a lie. It said that they brought 400,000 Africans to the United States, a total of 10 million, and 400,000 made it to the United States. So
How many women?
but
slavevoyages.org
that was
says that it was
How many women?
400,000.
How many women? Ask AI how many women would it take to produce 50 million people?
but
It
see
takes
the
9
amount
months
of
to make
black
a
people
baby.
Nobody
that were
said 50
quote
million
unquote
people. It said
We have
400,000.
50 million people now. How
Yeah,
many
we do.
people
Okay.
would it take to
yeah,
grow to
because
that
we
population
intermix with Europeans
without
and even
inbreeding?
more black people.
If we inbred, we would be white. We would be depleted right now. We would be skinny. How you gonna produce a
What
Shaquille
are you
O'Neal by
talking about?
inbreeding? This is
You said we'll be
genetics, man.
white.
Y'all, this is genetics.
Wait a minute. You're all over the place with your statement. The amount of black people that were quote unquote here before colonization was probably very minimal compared to the black people that were brought over by slave ships. See, your argument gets debunked fast because even with the black people that were brought over, I know people say it was only 4%, but that population grew because they kept reproducing. They kept reproducing within that 4%.
Why didn't the black Liberian population grow? Why did they die out?
Why did you say why did
they
the
had
black
200 years. They had 200 years. They say when I looked it up, the Congo population in Liberia today is 300,000. How come they didn't grow?
They did grow.
And most of the original people didn't even have children because men cannot reproduce. It has to be women. Now most of the Liberians are mixed with native Liberian women.
Come on,
it makes no sense. I mean, yeah, I understand we have an ethnogenesis here, but that does not mean
that population is nowhere near the population of the Igbo or the Yoruba. Nowhere near. They had 200 years to do it. They didn't do it.
But the last slave ship I think was in the 1800s when they brought over Africans and stuff.
1808 when they stopped it. When they stopped the importation of Africans was 1808.
But when they brought more people over, that means that they were reproducing more with them, intermingling with them. So that what you saying that like there were more black people here than the ones that were brought over. I mean, this argument easily gets debunked because you don't have the numbers in terms of the black people that were here prior to white people.
In order for us to grow the way we did, as far as, and then you got to calculate all of the abortions. We would have been 100 million without the abortions. It would take a vast amount of biodiversity for that to happen. It couldn't just be 2 or 3 different tribes. It would have to be thousands of tribes for that to happen. That's why the European populations don't grow that much. The biggest European population in America is German, but the biggest ethnic group is Black Americans.
But
The majority, I was,
God, let Marie talk. Go ahead, Marie.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Marie. Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
he was saying that how come there wasn't a lot of Liberians that survived? Well, to be honest, most enslaved Africans came from well, the area where Nigeria, Angola, and Congo is. So of course it will be more Nigerian. Like, I mean, we'll have more Nigerian DNA, and Nigerian survival. It was more of them over here. So when you see us doing these DNA tests and we have more Nigerian DNA, that's because in that area, uh, we were enslaved Africans were brought more from that area to to the new world. So that's why you know there's more Nigeria, like you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'll just stop right there.
I was
Yeah.
saying that when we went to Liberia in like the 1820s to the 1840s, that population did not grow exponentially. It's not the same population as say Igbo population in Nigeria
Well, because
or Yoruba population or Hausa population.
ain't no
That
way.
population didn't grow.
Ain't no way. You can't
How many
compare.
American Liberians are there?
I'm talking. I'm talking.
All right, sorry about that.
Thank you. You can't compare people who came over in the 1800s to a people who have been in a certain space for thousands of years. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Come on.
But you just proved my point. You proved my point, Dinus, because our population in America is equivalent to one of those Nigerian populations.
Because Marie,
they've been 1,000 years. So have
I'm
we.
talking. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet.
All right, go ahead.
Be quiet. It's called breeding. So they literally. So there's a movie you need to watch called Farewell Uncle Tom. It's probably the best movie that depicted slavery. So they have breeding farms, and they will literally send like a buck to different slave plantations to breed.
But Dinus, it still takes 9 months.
They would get a winch. Excuse my language. I hate using the jeez. I don't want to use the term. But that's what they called her. That's what they called her. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they would take her from like plantation and sell her and pat. I don't want to talk about it, but I mean,
but that's a movie though. That's a movie.
Yeah,
that's real life, That happened in real life,
But Dinus, it takes 9 months for a human being to grow. We're not chickens. It's not like we're gonna have eggs.
But if you have a buck, if you have a buck going from plantation to plantation, having sex with a bunch of different women, then I mean that's
okay. Dinus,
well, Dinus,
at that time, there weren't any abortion. There was no. There was no Planned Parenthood. So, yeah.
But let's say it's true. Let's say it's true. Say one buck had 100 women pregnant.
I asked your question.
That's just 100.
I asked your question. I asked AI your question, which was, how many women would it take? And this is what it said. Okay, so I said, this is what I asked. I said, how many African women would it take in the year 1600 to breed 50 million African Americans in the year 2026? 2026. It says, because population growth compounds over time, small changes in the annual growth rate drastically change the required starting number of women, assuming a 1:1 ratio of men and women in starting pool. Here is how the math breaks down. At a 2.5% annual rate growth, it would take a total starting population of 1,350 people, approximately 675 women. At a so that's at 2.5% growth rate. Let's go to the lowest. At 1% annual growth rate, it would take a total starting population of 721,000 people, which would be 360,000 women. It says historical context, though. Continuous influx, not a single event. High natural increase post 1700. And it says historically, the enslaved population in mainland United States experienced a unique and rapid natural growth. This is not including the breeding farms, because I put that in after. It said historically, the enslaved population United States experienced unique and rapid natural growth, birth rates outnumbering death, Compared to the Caribbean and South America between 1700 and 1860, the population grew at an average rate of 2 to 2.5%. So then the question was, if it were a 2.5% growth rate, add to that breeding farms. And then it says, incorporating forced reproduction historically documented as systemic forced fertility during domestic slave trade would drive the annual growth rate to its maximum biological upper limits. In mathematical model,
factor in biodiversity.
Okay, wait a minute. In a mathematical model, this higher efficiency drastically reduces the number of starting women needed in 1600 to reach 50 million people in 2026. And it says, if forced reproduction practices pushes the sustained growth rate from above 2.5% required number of starting women decreases exponentially. So in other words, with the breeding farms, it would even decrease the number of women. For example, at 3% growth rate, it will require 85 women starting in 1600. At 3.5% growth rate, it will require 11 women starting at 1600. And then it says historical application of the model. So basically, overall, it's just saying that a 2.5% growth rate is what they would say without breeding farms. So
I mean, they're using the interest rate like the money growth. They're not factoring in.
No, sir, you asked me to plug in how many women would it take to create a population of 50 million, and I gave you the numbers.
What's the equation? P times E to the R to the T. That's the equation for the rate of growth in your interest rate growth.
Okay, well, you're on.
I think the reason why he doesn't believe it is because it doesn't reinforce his beliefs about this Native American identity, as well as the DNA test. A lot of the times, the ABOs always say that the reason why they feel like the DNA tests are inaccurate is because it doesn't align with what they believe, or what they've been told to believe. Even though it's telling you the evidence right there. I mean, so would you believe more in a paternity test versus an ancestral DNA test? Because they're pretty much the same thing. Because they use a cotton swab for both
Men
of
do
them,
not
so it's
control
like,
birth. Women control birth. It has to be women that give birth to children. Dudes just go around the world impregnating women, and they conquer men and take their women. That's the law of the jungle. And when if that V lady get back, I mean, I ain't gonna call it a V. I ain't gonna disrespect, but that conversation was really interesting because she was saying how the women decided who controls that country. They will get rid of these weak dudes and get a whole new dude. Just like I ain't gonna say what the black women do, but it pretty much is they choose. And a lot of them now, the divestors, they choosing white dudes or
But that's
whoever.
not chattel slavery, bro. That has nothing to do with chattel slavery in the United States.
It's like race itself is by choice. We choose who we get with, And
what does that
your
have to do
children
with the
gonna be based on
conversation,
your
though?
choices.
What does that have to do with the conversation?
Because it's all about birthright. It's all about birthright. Men do not control birthright. You got to be born from
What
a
are we
woman
talking
of that
about in
land.
chattel slavery, though? There was
all
none of
about
that.
reproducing children for labor.
Okay, the owner of the
Walter
slaves.
Plinkett, Walter Plinkett and the elite whites said they got a right to America because they was related to Indian. They was related to Pocahontas, so they had Indian blood that gave them the right to America. But we talking about this. We're saying we're not related to Pocahontas.
That
Therefore, we don't have no
Walter
right
thing
to
that you're talking
America.
about, it had no amendments to it.
If you don't have no right to America, if you're not from an indigenous blood, you don't have a
to Dan Calloway too much.
Listen, you're not related to
that was only exclusive to Virginia. That was only in Virginia. That was not in other states.
The whole country.
No, it was in Virginia. What you talking about? The 13 colonies?
Indians.
That's not
all
the same
white people
thing.
say they're related to an Indian. They got rights to America. That's their whole claim. They got birthright. But us saying we don't, we saying we from another country, yet you can't prove a woman you born to, so you ain't got no country. You ain't got no birth. You ain't got no birthright. Where your country at?
So what does that have to do with ancestry and lineage?
Your mother. It's all about the matrix. That's what the Bible called a woman. The womb, the matrix. He said all that coming out the matrix belong to me, but you got to give up your firstborn.
So they were selling. They were selling her children
with a ram. That's in the Bible.
It still doesn't.
It's a joke to
It
you,
has
but
nothing to
if
do
you don't
with
got a mother that's
numbers.
an African, you don't got no right to that country. If you don't got a mother in
We're
America
not
that's
even
an
talking
Indian,
about rights to
you
the
don't got a
country.
right to America.
We're
You
not
just a
talking about
stateless
rights to
person.
America and none of that. We're
You don't
just
got a
talking
right to
about
nothing.
African populations. We're talking
You don't
about
got a right to no
400,000.
land.
We're talking about
How
400,000
many years do you
Africans
think that
being
Black
brought to the
Americans
United
have
States
been in the
between
United States?
Well, I
1600 and
appreciate your show, Dennis. I gotta
1800.
get up out of here, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you go study.
Like he can't even ask the question of like how long does he believe that Black Americans were here in terms of the United States? Because the only time, a lot of the times they'll say 500 years, but I'm like that's not enough years to say that we've been here like since the very beginning in terms of like the native versus the natives, because the natives, the average one would tell you that they've been their people have been here for over 20,000 years. I think and oftentimes they quote the Luzia woman in Brazil and say that, oh, well, there were archaeologists that said that she looked like a Black woman or a Negroid or something like that. But in reality, those were just inferences that kind of indicated that she may have looked like that, but that didn't indicate that she actually had African roots or anything like that. They said that she was Amerindian. She was not of African descent or Black or anything like that. And then they also talk about the statues. Like that's another thing that these Abo people do is that they always make references to the Olmec statue. And I think where is that located? I don't know if it's is that Central
I want to
America
say
or
Veracruz, Mexico, but it's
like
not.
Mexico?
No, it's another place. I can't remember it, but it's in Ivan Van Sertima's book. I can't think of it, but they also argue that they came over during the time of Abubakar Mansa Musa's brother, who went over to the Americas. That they came from West Africa into the eastern part of the United States. So they're arguing that point too. So that they've
That's
been
crazy.
here, 600, whatever it is, 700 years. It's like they're all over the place. They're all over the place.
First, they say that they're attached to the Moors, and then they said they're attached to Aboriginal people. It's like they're just all, yeah, like you said, they're all over the place. They're constantly pivoting to these different identities, which is crazy to me.
And they're trying to erase our African ancestry by saying that we, African American, all 50 million of us, have Native American, and in many cases they're saying that most of us were here already, that we are Indian people. So they're trying to erase our African ancestry because they are mentally enslaved and are coming from a place of post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes,
Now
I
I can say
agree.
we're anchored in America, huh? Oh, did you want to go ahead or?
Oh, I just wanted to tell Dinus there's more people that want to come up. There's some people in the back chat saying that they want to come up.
Okay, I'm putting a link now.
And then, they start talking about immigration,
Yeah.
delineation. This is their arguments. This started 6 years ago on Twitter. So I've seen the beginning of all of this stuff. And unfortunately, it did what we didn't want to do, which spread into the general population, even though most African Americans, you ask them what FBA is, they don't know. They never heard of it. So there's still only a few folks that are quote unquote FBA. And this all started prior to 6 years ago. There was no FBA. It did not exist. So, and this is unfortunate because it divides us as a people. We start, and then we're talking about delineation. We need to delineate.
We've been divided since they sold their people. They divided us. They sold us for rum and guns. What are you talking about?
I mean, I can agree with that point.
Nobody denies that there was
So
complicitness
why are you
involved in that, but the majority of Africans weren't involved and are being sold into slavery.
So why are you kissing their ass when them people didn't give two
But
fucks about?
I haven't talked about Africans on the continent at all. I'm talking about my ancestry. That has nothing to do with Africans on the continent per se.
I'm saying, what is this big? Y'all keep disrespecting our grandparents and shit. Like, what is y'all problem? Like, y'all so
Well,
It's
I
no
mean,
disrespect.
my
No, it's
grandparents
not disrespect.
is
We're just
part of that
anchoring
group.
this in the facts.
My grandparents is part of that group too, and guess what? They didn't say we was African, and they in my particular situation, there was no talk. In fact, my mother said she was born in 1920 something, late 20s. She said that if you mentioned African when she was in elementary school, those were fighting words. This is how mentally enslaved we were. It was derogatory to be called African in the early
Because they
30s.
wasn't Africans.
Okay, but
Well, I think it's a little nuanced for us.
in my case, her great grandmother was of African descent. You could see by the things she did, by the way she danced, by the food she ate, and the
American
words that
Indians,
she said. She was of
American
African
Indians
descent and probably recent African descent.
no, American Indians had their
Man.
own too. Just because you could dance don't mean you came from
No,
Africa.
I ain't talking about just dancing. I'm talking about some of the words she would say
But,
that didn't
but I'm not
nobody
gonna
could
take you.
translate. It wasn't Indian.
You said your people. You did your genealogy. You proved that from your
That's
genealogy.
that
No,
Correct.
no, I did something deeper than
that's your
genealogy.
proof right there.
I
Your
did
proof is
something
in
deeper than
genealogy.
See, they
genealogy.
only you see how the Avos only use genealogy to prove their point. They never use
Because
DNA because
that's actual
it
documentation.
doesn't confirm your beliefs. It doesn't. You're trying to use confirmation bias to make yourself be factual with this
You
type stuff,
retarded.
and we know it's not anchored in facts.
Right, and you
It
should
is
use more
facts.
than
It's
one.
names and it's names, death certificates, birth
You should.
certificates.
That's good, but you should use more
Those
than
are
one thing to
people, not
corroborate.
just a piece of
But you
paper.
also should use the science too, because the
Right,
science will also tell you everything as well.
it will
The science is
corroborate your
biased.
other information because
Let
you
me tell you
usually
You
our
said, well,
information
okay.
doesn't go
So are you
back
saying
so
that
far.
genealogy is not
I know what
biased?
you say, though. I know what you
No,
say.
how can genealogy be biased? Those are your
No, we're
real
not saying it's
relatives.
not biased. We're not saying that
Those
though.
are your
What we're
actual
saying,
relatives, your
what we're
blood
But your
relatives.
what
DNA
we're
is not going to
saying
lie
is
to
that
you.
you
Your
use
DNA.
more than one thing to corroborate the other things. You use
You can't
DNA. You
always
use
tell what people
genealogy.
are just by looking at them. Just because they look a certain way doesn't mean that they're always all the time mixed with what you think they're mixed with.
Right.
It could be somebody that looks Hispanic, but they might be Middle Eastern or something like that. You
Most
They
of
can't
us
are.
look
always
like
tell
we
what
come
somebody
from
is.
They
fucking
are.
Africa. Most of us look like we're Nigerian or Congolese or Guinea, Mali, Senegal. Most of us do. That's our
Lookership gets you
phenotype.
nowhere. Lookership is lazy.
Okay,
Lookership
Yeah,
is
that's
but
what I'm
that's
lazy.
saying.
just what
Like
he
you can't
said. That's
always
what he
tell what
just said.
somebody is just based off how they look.
Right.
Your
So, but if
genealogy
you
is
were
not,
gonna,
you can't
if you were
lie.
gonna,
You can't lie to genealogy.
we're saying use it. You
If you
should
got your
use it.
genealogy going back to the 1600s when
Well,
the
very
slave
few
trade
of
was
us
supposed to
got
be
that.
booming, when the slave trade was supposed to be booming, you're supposed to be seeing Africans popping up left and right,
Your
but you're
genealogy
not
goes back to
finding none.
1600. Your genealogy goes back to
I mean, of course,
1600.
Yes,
our people have been here
Okay,
yes.
for
well
some
you're
time, but that
lucky.
doesn't mean that they're
You're lucky.
American Indian.
You're lucky
That
because
doesn't
most
mean that
of
they're
us
American
don't.
Indian just because they were here in the 1600s. I mean, American Indian people were here for thousands of years. They weren't here just for hundreds of years. So you're comparing hundreds
That's
of years to thousands of years. Those are two different types of. That's two different types of. I guess you could say like numbers in terms of how long somebody has been
all right.
here.
Check this
The
out. Check this
red
out.
natives.
Check this out. I got this Henry Louis Gates video with him talking about Rick Kittle's African ancestry and everything, exposing it. It's fake. He's gonna actually tell you it's fake. Watch.
So
The Africans are these benighted people. This is Henry Louis Gates. Y'all
But
love, y'all like Henry Louis Gates, right?
you can't fight this genealogy, bro.
The Sahara Desert was rubbish. Africans. Do y'all hear that? The Sahara Desert was a highway, wasn't a barrier. So I thought, well, and they were great trade routes. So I thought maybe my Nubian descendant had come over and ended up being tricked by some white man and ended up in Maryland or Virginia or something. So that was cool. And if I needed an interpretation, believe me, I could have produced one. As he panders to his audience for laughs, he makes reference to Dr. Kittles, who is the founder of AfricanAncestry.com. So it broke on CNN. I was sitting in my living room minding my own business and said, Oprah Winfrey's a Zulu. So I called Rick Kittles and I said, Rick, did you tell Oprah she was a Zulu? He goes, no, man, she made that up herself. It's a true story. It's a true story. I would lie to make you laugh, but I'm telling you a true story. Gates goes on to reference the process by which Kittles collects genealogical information, jokingly, as if the process he uses to collect information is completely fraudulent. So
Wait a minute. For
I
one,
said, Rick,
they said
you and
Zulu.
your lab,
They didn't
He's
say
still going. He's still
Zulu.
going.
That's based in South Africa. That's not. That has
Yeah,
nothing to do
he's
on the
still
southern
going. He's
region.
still going though.
But he said that Oprah lied and said that though. He said
Yes,
that
she
that's not what the
But
information he
Rick,
gave us
hold
at.
on. You ain't let him finish. He's about to get to the best part.
you in your lab? He said, yeah. I said, is anybody there? I said, no. And when the results come in, Micro Zulu, man. You know? Anyway,
We can't hear it, bro.
They manipulated the DNA. He said to make it.
We can't hear it.
Man, Tony, man, you on you're on your Obama phone, man. Come on, Tony.
No,
All
he
right,
said.
all right.
No, what he said was. What he
Let me pass
said
it to
was.
D. Hold on,
He told Rick to
hold
go and
on,
make.
D Red. I gotta pass it to D Red. D Red, go ahead, unmute yourself, D Red.
Yeah, man. I really just came up here because the brother was talking about the delineation and making it seem like it was this is a solely new phenomenon, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like I say this all the time, but I got to say it again. There's a brother named Noah Shelton started it in the '90s. You see what I'm saying? Late '80s, early '90s. You know what I'm saying? And he created what was called Descendants of American Slavery. You know what I'm saying? And this is where ADOS got their concept from. Tariq got his concept from. So they both of those groups borrowed from this brother. You know what I'm saying? And then we all know Dr. Claude Anderson used to call us Native Black Americans. So the delineation, you can even go back to the 1955 town hall meeting in Chicago where the young brother, they told the young brother to go back to Africa. He said, go back to where? Go back to Africa? He said, I'm not African anymore. I'm a Negro. You see what I'm saying? So the delineation concept, you know what I'm saying, of people becoming their own group is not a new phenomenon. You see what I'm saying? They even had newspapers back in the 1800s where all the black newspapers kind of got together for us to vote on what we were gonna call ourselves, and African American was one of them. But Negro won, and color came in number two. You know what I'm saying? So to us delineate, Alexander Crummell was actually against it because he wanted to use the term African American because he wanted to hold on to African heritage. But a lot of Black Americans were trying to stray away from that because, as we know, back in the day, we had a lot of organizations like the Free African
What
Society.
year?
Huh?
What year?
I can't. Don't give me the line because I don't know the exact year. But I try to find out. I try to find out.
1782.
And
That's
so,
when we've been calling ourselves African Americans since 1782.
yeah, Alexander Crummell was one of the first people to actually use the term. You know what I'm saying? And so, but a lot of people were against it. That's why Negro won. That's why we started using like the Negro Convention
They
movement. We started
named
using
us
the word Negro.
Negro. They
They
named
didn't
us
name us
Negro.
Negro. We voted on what we're gonna
In
call ourselves.
1520, there's a book about it that this sister had in the space one time, and we actually she read from the book, and they started in the United States with naming the enslaved people Africans Negro, and it traveled to the Caribbean and South America. But anybody that was non-white could be Negro. Like in the Caribbean, they were calling Chinese people Negro. In South America, they was calling non-white whatever you was Negro.
Well, I'm just gonna read some of this. This is from one of the newspaper articles. It said the cover says percentage of colored votes drops to 2 points. Negro gets 54% of ballots. It says 600 Afro dollar. Well, no, I ain't something. It says somebody's going to get a letter from the Afro saying you have been awarded the first award of $100. Anyway, they was making a joke. You know what I'm saying? They was making a joke. It says then another reader will get a letter. Anyway, this is a joke. I ain't gonna read the jokes. I'm just gonna read the whole thing. It says here's how the vote stands. It says, yes, sir, the Afro is going to settle once and for all, and this is business. As the best race designation, every reader has had a chance to vote and an opportunity to win one of the 247 awards. Here's how the ballot stands at the end of the second week. It says Negro this week, 460. Last week, 344. Colored, 316. Last week, 259. Afro-American, 43. No, last week, 2. American, 6. Last week, 2. Black 2, last week 0. Moorish American 5. You know what I'm saying? Last week 1. Colored American Negro 1. You know what I'm saying? Then it said Ethiopian 5. American Negro 3.
What are you reading?
Ethio American. This is from a newspaper article. This is from a newspaper, from a black newspaper in the 1800s. We were actually voting on what we were gonna call ourselves, and this was across the actual black media. So when we say that we didn't that they gave us these monikers, we chose what we were gonna call ourselves, and they went with it. Just like when Jesse
Are you of
Jackson did the
African
African
descent?
American. No, what'd you say?
Are you of African descent?
No, I'm not answering that question. That's stupid.
No, I
But
mean I'm just
so the point.
asking. You may not be. You may not be. You
Like,
might be of Native American descent or whatever you guys are calling it.
I mean, I don't even. Who's that? Who's that talking?
It's Sha talking with the
I don't
little.
know you, sir. So
Okay,
I'm
but
not even
I was
answering your
just
question.
asking you if you are you of African descent?
I mean, but that's none of your business. What does that? What does that got to do with what I'm saying?
What's the secret? I mean, that's not
But
a big
I'm
deal.
trying to figure. I'm trying to figure out what's the point of that question.
Well, the reason I'm asking you, are you of African descent, is because I want to know if you're Native American or are you of African descent.
I mean, what I'm trying to figure out. What does that matter?
It matters
What,
because
I'm saying.
it matters because
What
of
does it
your
have to do with what
argument.
I'm saying?
Your argument
But
may
what is
be
that?
by you're generally speaking, all of the Indians are
Mm-hmm.
arguing your points. And all of the
Well,
people who are of African descent are arguing more in line with the points me and Dynas and the other brother are arguing. So in a
I'm
way,
still trying to understand. I'm not. I didn't make no point for or against any of that. What you talking about? All I'm just saying
yeah,
is
but I mean,
I'm just talking about
you
the
don't
history
have
of
to answer. I
delineation.
just was asking you if you are of African descent.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. What I'm just
So
saying
you
is I'm
don't want to
talking about
answer
just the
that.
history. I'm just talking about the history of delineation.
Yeah. So you
You know
you
what I'm
refrain
saying?
from that. You plead the fifth on that, I guess.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I've been over here before, so I've already answered that question. Just because you don't
Oh.
know, I don't even know you to even answer me.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't need to know me to just say that you're proud to be of African descent.
So okay, whatever.
Brother, he's
So
clearly
You're
not, though.
not. No,
That's
you're not. You're
yeah,
not
you
of
could tell
African
by his
descent. You're an Indian.
argumentation. He's saying
He's an
he's not.
Indian. That's why he's saying that. He's an Indian.
I'm not. I never said I'm nothing, but you can
No,
assume
you
what you
are an
want to
Indian.
assume.
You
Hey,
You
man,
are
can
an
y'all
assume what
speak
you
though.
want to
This
assume.
is circular. Y'all are not gonna get nowhere with
Yeah,
this.
that's him. That's him. He just
Nah,
want
yeah,
to.
I'm
He just
not.
want to create an argument
He's
because
an
I
Indian.
just wanted to come on
That's
here
all.
and speak
whatever,
in
bro.
regards to Dr. Kittles and Miss Gina Page's company. Like discrediting the scientific methodology that they use just displays your ignorance. There's multiple resources that you can do to do your due diligence in regards to the methodology that they use to formulate the results that you get from a mitochondrial DNA standpoint and a patrilineal lineage standpoint. This conversation just shows the need, the necessity for STEM to be uh, pressed in our communities, bro. The scientific illiteracy within our demographic is horrendous. There's no way you can look at DNA synapses, DNA sequences, and what I guess you guys are trying to say is fabricate. Like this, just nonsense. All you have to do is take a genetics class. Like
Can I respond to that?
you people come on the internet and you really make black people look so stupid.
Can I
Like
respond
the
to that?
stuff that the stuff that you are saying is rudimentary science.
Can I respond to
Like
that?
no, I'm not finished speaking. You've been talking the whole. I'm not even trying to engage from back and forth. I'm gonna say what I'm saying, then I'm getting off because I have no desire to engage in foolishness. It takes two fools to make a clown show. I'm not doing that. But for the people that are listening and watching, if you want to take an African ancestry DNA test by Dr. Kittles and Gina Page, and you want to look at the methodology that they're using, all you have to do is go to the chat bot and ask it any question. It's gonna give you a direct answer, and you can email them directly for the frequent FAQ, frequently asked questions, bro. All I'm saying, bro, if you have children out there, please get them into science, bro. We don't need people walking around here that's stupid. Y'all have a great night, man.
You right about that.
They
Yeah,
use
good law. You
mitochondrial
right about
DNA,
that.
mtDNA, and
Yes,
they use
yes,
Y
I
DNA.
yes, I agree with the brother that was just talking because now you have some of these pretendians that are creating children's book teaching them that they're Native American. Like this is sad. I'm sorry. That's very sad.
Now, are we American? Yeah, we're American, but it does not mean that we don't have African roots or don't have genetic ties to Africa. Because I'm not saying, I'm not saying that we should dismantle our American identity, but we don't have to cloak it into being an indigenous or Native American. I think that's really where the disconnect is coming from, is that is one group saying that we're indigenous and then you got people saying that we're just African. I'm like, no, we're Americans, but we're of African descent. I think
But
that's
you just
best way to
said,
put it.
you misspoke and you said we don't have to dismantle our American. And see, that's the psychosis
But that
right
doesn't
there,
mean we have
because
to be,
you meant to say
we don't have
you
to,
didn't
we
need to
don't have to
dismantle
dismantle
our
that
African.
identity.
You meant to say
No, we don't have
we
to
don't need to
dismantle that either.
dismantle
We don't
our
have to,
African. Is that what you meant to say? That we don't
we
need to
don't have to
dismantle
dismantle
our
either one
African?
Yeah,
because
Dynasty, you there?
You're not listening. You're not
Yeah, I'm
listening.
here.
Did you misspeak and say that we didn't have to dismantle our American, but you meant to say African?
no, I said exactly what I meant by that, because what I'm saying in terms of identity, we are rooted here because of what our people have been through. So my
Nobody's
thing is that,
dismantling our American, though. Nobody's dismantling our
but you
American.
say,
You
but
meant
a lot of the times
African. You
but
meant
when you
African.
say African, when you say African, though, what you're saying is that you're trying to tie us to a whole continent that our people have not been in for centuries.
Are
So what
you?
I'm saying to you
You don't make no
is that
sense right there. Because even if it's only genetically, we're tied to Africa genetically. So what are you talking about?
but culturally, socially, and
Nobody
politically, we're not
said
tied to Africa.
culturally. Your people are denying the
But
genetic part of it too. People
no,
are saying they have to. You don't,
I agree
right?
with you that we're genetically African. I'm not saying that we're not genetically tied to it. I'm saying is that we have to still, recognize the fact that we are cloaked into Americanness. So that's why we see things from
Nobody's
an
denied
American
that.
lens.
Nobody's denied.
So
Nobody's even
I, so
argued
I,
that the
I
whole
feel like to
night.
say that we're just, I feel like just to say that we're just African, that's kind of disrespectful to the
Nobody's saying
ancestors
that we're just
that died
African.
in this country.
Nobody's saying that we're just African. We know we have admixture. We got 15 to 20% white, and some of us have some Native American or indigenous or whatever you want to call it. We know that. And then the whole thing about being a new ethnic group, when in the 80s, when I was taking Black Studies, that's what the professors were saying. We are a new ethnic group with the foundation of African culture. And then all of the classes that we were taking supported the African cultural part, because we was reading Zora Neale Hurston, we was reading Gwendolyn Hall's book on information on Africans and where they took the records of the slave boats and stuff. So there's a lot of information out there. Flash of the Spirit, Robert Ferris Thomas. These are some of the people, and those are just a few that were talking about our African retentions that we have. And then you
Yeah,
got
we
people
have
now, we don't have
derivatives
nothing
of
to do with
African stuff
African.
that we have derivatives of certain West African things that were brought over, but that does not mean that we are somehow just these Africans that recently came here.
But
We're
who says
distant
that? Who's saying
Africans,
that
pretty
though?
much.
Who's saying that we're the
But
recent
sometimes
Africans
when
that just
when
came here?
African is talk, y'all are talking in
We
terms of
never,
saying that
never,
we're recent
never,
people that
Yeah,
just
bro.
came
There's some
from
of
the
the people on
continent.
the panel.
never. African Americans never say we're the same as an African coming from the continent. Never.
Sometimes y'all cloak
Yeah.
everybody in the same way, in the same group, and knowing that we are very different than a lot of them, in terms of our culture, in terms of all the things that, like I said, the lineage that we have here. Like the way that y'all do it is say, oh yeah, yeah, like I said, we have ties genetically, but that does not mean that we somehow have shared lineages or a shared, experience being in various countries and things like that. So just like I think we have more in common with the Caribbean people because they have had the same experience in terms of the slave trade, but in terms of the Africans on the continent, we don't have much commonality besides melanin and maybe kinky hair, but that's pretty much it. I
And
mean,
and
that's
your
the
genetics and your genetics.
and
Yeah.
genetics, yeah,
And that's
and
a small
genetics.
thing,
But
isn't it? Right. That's a very large
Yeah,
thing.
I
We
haven't
still have
spoken yet.
fucking sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
tied
but
to
I don't
Africa.
know.
I'm
What
not
the I
disagreeing
don't
with you on
understand.
that.
I don't understand. I don't understand the constantly bringing up genetics. The Yoruba and the Igbo share the same genetics, but they still their own ethnic group. They still their own tribe.
We
So
are our
having
own
the same
tribe.
genetics.
African Americans are
Yeah,
our
because
own
that's a
tribe.
cultural thing. That's more cultural
Okay.
and
So
tribal.
but allow us to be that.
No,
You
we
know what I'm
are.
saying?
We don't
What you
need
say?
to allow. No,
No,
you
no, no,
are new. You're
what I'm
new coming
saying,
into
brother,
that knowledge. We've been saying this since the
brother, you don't
80s.
know. You
Before you
don't,
were
brother.
born, we've been saying that we're a new
You,
African American
you don't
group.
know anything about me, brother.
Well, I don't know
So
how
that's what I'm
old you
saying.
are,
You
but let me say
keep
this:
jumping
So
out.
y'all don't think that white
we've been
people
saying that we are a
distinguish
new
themselves?
And somebody else
ethnic
talk.
group, and there's books about it, and they've been talking about it since the '80s when I was a college kid. So y'all just coming into this knowledge, you just are young, and you just coming, or are you just coming into the knowledge?
Yes. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Peace. Peace. Yeah. I just joined the panel. This is Pharaoh, Miss Raheem. Yeah. Now concerning this subject, you have people. Everybody is guilty of of being some kind of pseudo. But you have people who are pseudo, and you have people who are extremely pseudo, and I blame mainstream academia and mainstream white supremacy, because when I went to AI, okay, and I asked them this question. I said, "Can history be imagined?" And it says, "Yes, history can and must be imagined because the past is gone and evidence is incomplete. Historians use imagination to connect broken pieces of information into a whole story. However, this imagination must stay tied to real facts and sources rather than pure fantasy." Okay, so now we just heard that. So
Grandma
AI,
was imagining.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, AI and mainstream is pretty much saying that you can make up history. You can base history off your imagination as long as you make it sound good and make it sound realistic. And if anybody who believes that, then it is something wrong with you. I mean, I don't believe that. I strongly disagree with that. That you can just make up history. But now we see why the Albos and Dane Calloway
Oh, y'all fake
and
Africans.
legendary Top Cats, why now we see why that they make up history and make extremely pseudo claims, because mainstream and authorities are given the green light for it. They are allowing it. There's no rules and no boundaries of telling history. People can just make up stuff these days. Just as long as you can make it sound good. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
But if
yeah,
you
and
have
this
a basic understanding of history, historical facts, and unless all history is a lie, which it isn't, there are some facts. And if you went to school and got some basic facts, you know the shit Dan Calloway is saying ain't based on no facts. That's what
yeah,
you call
I
ahistoric.
mean, we know he's a pseudo historian.
Right.
I mean, we should know
Grandma
that
was
by
a
now.
pseudo historian too. She imagined a whole bunch of things, is what Dinus was saying. And I agree that our families made up shit.
yeah, and that's
Or
the
maybe half
problem.
truths,
Why would they
depending on the
do that?
context.
Why would they make
Yeah,
it up though? Why? What
yeah.
would they get out of just saying, "Oh, we this"?
The same reason why somebody who is of African descent don't want to be of African descent, mad because of the slave trade of Africans being complicit in it, and only a few compared to the majority of the people, they're mad about that. Maybe they're mad. I don't even know if they're really mad about
Have you
that.
ever even heard of the
And
Indian slave trade?
yeah, and
I heard of the
it
five civilized
Have
Indians
you heard of the
enslaving
Indian
Africans.
slave trade?
I heard of the five civilized tribe enslaving Africans in the
No.
United
Have you
States.
heard
I
of
heard
the
of that.
Indian slave trade?
mhm,
The Indian slave trade. They were not
mhm.
enslaving Native Americans. The Indians were black.
No,
The
I heard of
Indian slave trade. Most of the slaves were Indians.
I heard of the
What?
five
I'm
civilized
lost.
tribes
I don't know what
having
this.
African
and
slaves. I ain't
and
heard of
you
no
know
Indians
what?
enslaved,
Most
Africans
of the
enslaving
slaves were, you can
Indians.
pull it up
Most of the
easily.
Hey,
natives were
guy,
slaughtered.
You
let
can
Marie
pull it
talk.
up
Let Marie
easily. The
talk.
Indian slave
I said let
trade.
Marie talk.
Oh no, it's okay. They can go. It's fine. Mhm.
That makes no
Yeah,
sense,
but
man.
yeah, I mean this
Why would you go across the
yeah, I mean
seas
this
when you fighting over here? There was over 200 Indian wars, man. Slaves are prisoners of war. I mean, it
yeah,
took
but
over
this
2 years. It took up to 2 years to build
But they
one of
didn't
them
call
ships.
themselves Indians. They never called themselves Indians. I don't know where you got that from.
Huh?
Mhm.
They didn't call themselves Indians. The prisoners of war, they came from the
I
continent
didn't
of
say they
Africa. They didn't.
did. I didn't say they did.
but
You
it's
said Indian. You
documented.
said Indians were slaves, right? You said that they
Yes,
were a part of the
most
slaves.
of them were Indian slaves. They were prisoners of war
Oh,
From
okay.
where?
against the Europeans and other Native American tribes. I mean, American Indian tribes, basically.
Most of them were slaughtered, and some of them owned our people too, depending on where they came from. So, like
Yeah, they were
you're trying
enslaving
to.
each other before the Europeans even came.
You mean
Everything
they
they
were
tell you about,
enslaving?
everything they tell you about Africa, that's what was going on over here.
Are you the same person that said slavevoyages.org only said that there was 400 Africans that
If
came
you
to the
look
United
up the
States?
ships that came
Are you
directly
the one
from
that said
Africa,
that? Are you the one
yes.
that said that?
If you look
So
up
then
the
then
if
you
you look
are
up the if you look up the ships that
you're
came directly
disingenuous. You're
for if you look up the
disingenuous. I
what
googled it. I just
I said,
AI'd it.
get
Slavevoyages.org
on the
said that
site. If you look
400,000
up the ship,
Africans,
if you filter it out,
400,000.
if you filter it out to only the African ports that came straight to an American port,
Sir,
North
it
America.
said the United States had on slave voyages, there were 400,000 Africans that came to the United States, and you said 400. So
You're
we
not
cannot.
listening.
We
You're
can,
not listening. You're not
He
listening.
said 400 compared
You're
he
to
not
did. He
listening.
said
400,000.
400.
You're not
It's not
listening.
adding
That's
up.
what he
It's really
said.
not adding up.
You're not listening. Because I mean, there was more Indians that got taken to Africa than they came in.
What?
Huh?
What the
What?
hell are
Yeah,
you
y'all don't
talking
know about
about?
nothing.
Indians that were taken to Africa.
Yes, man. Taking to Africa, taking to
This
Europe.
man, bro,
What's
stop
the
with
They,
this
what's
little
the
historian
what's the
logic,
source for
man.
that?
It's not
What's the
adding
source
it's
for
up.
that?
man, that shit is documented, man. It's written. Y'all too
What's the
busy
source for that?
brainwashed by the history books
What credible
and not
sources
looking
do
into
you have?
historical
What the hell?
documentation, man. It's historical
How were they
documentation.
taken to
This ain't
Africa?
in the
What do you
history
mean that
books.
they were?
Yeah,
He talking about the Free
I
African
like to read about
Society,
that.
man. The motherfuckers that they took over there
But
Man,
wait a minute.
y'all
and shit
Why would
like
they
that
be
in the
classified
establishment
as
of
Indians?
Liberia.
Why would they
I
be
don't
called
know, man. I
Indians?
don't know that part. I don't know that
that's
part, but
what the white folks call them.
I just know the
They
argument,
were
bro.
exporting niggas, man.
I done had these arguments with these cats before, so I know the
They
argument.
were doing
But
more
what they talking about
exporting.
when they talking about when they talking about this, they talking about this shit. They talking about the Free African Society and the establishment of Liberia and black people
This,
going over there and all that other type of shit. So
this ain't
he
They
even
said it's
never
that.
these
called
black people
themselves
that went to
Indians. I
Africa.
don't know where he got that from.
Not even
Yeah,
that.
that's the part I don't know. But what they say is the misclassification happened. This I'm just telling you the argument. They say the
Man,
misclassification happened before they started going over there. So that's why
this
they
stuff
call them
is
Indians.
literally written down. It's on newspapers. It's
Okay,
all
so
kind
yeah, I
of
just googled
historical
it. You're right.
documentation.
No,
It's
you're
all
right.
type.
You're right. It says here's what it says. It says key locations, and it says yes, Native Americans were taken to the African continent during the 17th and 18th centuries, though it occurred on small scale compared to the millions of Africans brought to the Americas.
And we all know millions of
Key
Africans didn't come
location,
here.
key locations
Very
in
minimal,
historical
and I guess
context.
that's the truth.
Tangiers, North Africa, during King Philip's
Look what
War,
you're looking up the information
1675 to
on.
1676. The Atlantic Islands, indigenous peoples were also shipped to the Azores. We're talking about Native Americans in the United States were shipped to
Yep.
the Azore
And
Islands,
they're not them Asian looking folks.
which is a Portuguese colony. Why were Native Americans shipped overseas, preventing escape? Enslaved Native Americans knew the local terrain and terrain well and could easily escape or enlist the help of neighboring tribes. Financing African enslavement. New England colonists traded Native American captives in exchange for sugar, rum, and enslaved Africans from the Caribbean. So I've heard this before, right? I thought it was impossible. It was
None of these
impossible
so-called Native
to fathom
Americans was
that.
taken over there. You don't see
Yeah,
nobody that
yeah.
look like
So
none of
yeah,
them
it was a
over
small
there.
amount, but yeah.
But you don't see
But
nobody
that's
that look
comparing
like these
apples
Native
to
Americans
oranges.
over there. They blended right in with the Africans.
But it was only a few.
It don't matter.
Yeah, that need
See,
that
It
that's
does
still
matter.
that
Those
no,
black people
that
that
still
were
needs to be
sent over there, they
substantiated.
knew that
no.
they
But
were
see, the
African
thing, it is
descent.
substantiated. If Google even told you that, you know it's lying still. But it still told you that. If
It
you look
told
into
us
the real
300,000
documentation,
Native Americans were taken to the Caribbeans.
there,
Yeah,
300,000.
there
I
was
need
a
to see the
lot. There's
I
a
need to see
lot
the
of real
primary source for that.
documentation. It's a lot of real historical
And
documentation.
this is how many
Man,
died. I'm about to tell
forget
you.
everything they told you in school. In order to understand, you got to forget all that bullshit y'all talk about from school.
No, well, not
School
all
ain't
of
do
it's
nothing but
bullshit.
Wait a minute.
indoctrinate.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The brother that said that Native Americans were sent over there to Africa. Some of the black people that was sent over there, they're called Creoles. I was over there in Sierra Leone speaking to the Creoles. They do not say that they're Native American. They say that they are Africans. So
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
understand.
That's not what I was. That's not what was
I
being
don't know what
said.
you talking about.
They're saying that the Native Americans that were taken from the United States were taken to North Africa, to Tangiers, and to the Azores
Yeah, North
Islands.
Africa, not
Not
sub-Saharan Africa.
to,
And they
not
were
to.
taking the West
Yes.
Africa. And they were
Well,
taking the
it
West
doesn't.
Africa.
Well, if they were, it's not in the information I just read. That
Because
doesn't
you're
mean it
looking
didn't
on
happen.
Google. You're
Okay,
looking on
I'm
Google.
just
He
saying.
said
No,
West
I'm looking with
Africa. So that's what
AI.
I'm talking about.
It's an
They were
AI
sent
search. It's
all
not
to all those
Google.
places he said and more.
It's not Google. It's AI. It's
They're
not
still the
Google.
same thing. They're
It's
just
not
Google
the
on
same
steroids.
thing. It's not the
Man,
same thing.
you can
Yeah,
look up the
but
Oh my
real
God. This is
documentation.
crazy.
It's real documentation. It's books. I'm talking about real live documentation. You ain't gonna tell me that it's not real. You
Okay,
ain't gonna
so,
tell
The
me
so
way
it's
that
not
so
these
it's
real.
albums talk, they
estimated that
talk just like we're attached to people like
50
the
million to
Aboriginals
50.
in Australia or
Y'all the
something like
ones
that.
want to imagine the history. Y'all want to
So
imagine the history. Imagine these big
They
slave
try to
boats.
revise history. They're
Imagine these white
revisionists.
folks running
Yeah,
around with nets just grabbing
historically.
up black folks
well, it
off of
ain't
Africa.
imagined. 50 million of us ain't
How weak do
imagined.
you think Africans are? That's really insulting to think Africans are so weak. They'll let these white folks come over there and take 12.5 million people.
Yep, it
12.
happened.
I mean, like, think of how many people that is.
It happened over
12. Man, that
over
is
what,
ridiculous.
500 years?
You'd
Over
rather believe
500
that than
years.
believe black folks was in America first? You'd rather
Yes,
believe
When there's
that.
no proof,
yes,
it's no
I do
proof
Oh
believe
my
that.
God.
that
Yeah,
black
it
people,
I
is
believe
proof.
that we have
It
our
is
own story.
proof. It is
there's
proof.
no
It's
proof
just
of
not
that.
in the history
If
books.
there were, it was very minimal, and most of the time they came with
It
Portuguese
ain't
and
minimal
Spanish
nothing.
explorers.
It ain't
Are you
No,
minimal
because they
nothing.
probably came
Well,
with Portuguese and Spanish
white
people.
people were not
No, them
or
black
if
selling
folks they brought
Africans
over
there
as
here,
were
slaves.
the black
expeditions
folks
of
they
them
took
that
over
came
there
from
was
West
already
Africans were
Africa,
here.
getting sold by their own kind.
even if it were
They were getting sold by
expeditions
their
that
own
went
kind.
during the time of Mansa Musa or before Mansa Musa, if there were small expeditions, then okay, we could
See, y'all got
I
to get
could
that out of
hear that.
Africa theory out your mind. That shit, it's just a theory. It is really a
Well,
racist
some
theory.
theories are based
If
that
you believe you
have
come from
facts
monkeys,
Reapplies to it
attached to
though.
them.
are y'all monkeys?
You
Are
can't
y'all
agree that.
monkeys?
You
Are
told
y'all
me that
monkeys?
400
Are you
Africans
a
were
No, we're
brought to
monkey?
the
not.
United
But
Are
States.
you?
genetically,
I
I
know
think
I
they
ain't
said
talking
we
to
have
shit
a
on
common
monkeys, right?
ancestor with
You
chimpanzees
said
and
400
bonobos.
Africans were brought to the United
Am I talking
States.
to chimpanzees or human beings?
Well, you sound like
We're human beings, but
you're
like I
trying to
said,
talk to chimpanzees if you
If
think
you
we
believe
believe
in the out of
400
Africa
Africans were
theory,
brought to the United
you
States.
believe you're a chimpanzee,
You said
and you believe
400
that white people
Africans
are
were
I mean,
more
brought
but
to the
superior
United
than
genetically,
you.
States. We
but
cannot take
science
you
would tell you that.
serious. No, we can't take you
Darwinism.
serious.
That's
All that
documented.
is
We
Darwinism.
can't take you serious, bro. You said 400
All the
Africans were
out of
brought to the
Africa
United
theory
States.
is
They unmatched
Darwinism,
DNA with human
and it's
beings and
the basis
chimpanzees and
of
bonobos, and
white
they found out that
supremacy.
we have a common ancestor.
You can't say that you believe in out of Africa theory unless you believe that white people are more superior to you.
You don't even know
You
what you're
can't.
talking about right
That's
now. You
what
don't.
Darwinism is.
But it's not related to
You
what
know
we're
who
talking
James
about.
Darwin is? You
It's
know who
not related
James
to the
Darwin is?
conversation. It's not related to the conversation, sir.
The out of Africa theory. He the one that made
That's
it.
not, no, you're wrong there too.
James
You
Darwin
don't even know
created
what you're
the
talking about.
James Darwin
What is the African? What
created
is the out
the
of
out of
Africa
Africa
James.
theory?
theory
Nigga say
in the
James.
Early
1800s.
Hold
civilization did
on,
start
man.
in Africa.
It's
What is
If
the
you
Charles
out of
pull up a
Darwin,
Africa
picture of
homeboy.
theory?
James Darwin, that'll
It's
debunk
Charles
the whole
Okay,
Darwin,
thing.
bro.
James Darwin.
All you gotta do is see
It's
the
Charles
picture of him.
Darwin.
You
No,
can see a picture
you
of
need
him.
to
But
pipe
James
James
down.
Darwin.
Darwin, was he some type of Native
He's the one that
American?
made the out of
You
Africa
need to
theory.
pipe down.
Charles Darwin, brother. You mean Charles Darwin, not
Yeah,
James
Charles
Darwin.
Darwin. My bad. Yeah, Charles Darwin.
No,
So
it isn't your bad.
brother,
It's
if you
our
disagree with
sad.
that,
God.
We're sad that you don't
if you
know
disagree
what
with
you're
that,
talking
then
about.
where do mankind originate from?
It's Darwinism.
Yeah, I'm
56
saying if you
million.
disagree with that, then where do mankind originate from?
Man, it'll make more sense that it will just happen organically all over the continents. Every single continent you find the indigenous people, is black people there, man. It's black people indigenous to every continent on this earth.
You need to be
Wait
quiet.
a minute. The mitochondrial Eve was in Africa. Was
Fuck
in,
all
I think,
that. That
Ethiopia.
ain't nothing but eugenics and Darwinism on the modern day eugenics and Darwinism. That's all that is.
So you telling me
That's
that
all that
science
is.
is
There's
wrong?
no
You
proof
telling
to
me
none of
that
that
the
shit.
science that
There's no
is no proof to that? So are you
shit.
telling me that the mitochondrial Eve is not from Africa?
All they doing is keeping up white supremacy. They found the oldest DNA here in America. They have not changed that narrative yet.
But I guarantee you, the
Not
oldest
the
DNA is
Alpha
not going to be
Peri.
tied to no black people.
The
I
outer
guarantee it's
African
not going to be
theory
tied.
is the foundation of white supremacy. The outer African
Are
theory
you
is the
are you the type
foundation.
that believes that the Lucia woman was a Negro? You believe that
I believe it was
the Lucia
Negroes all
woman
over
from?
the world. It was Negroes all over the world.
We're
You
not
look
the
over there
same
in
like the
Asia,
Australian. We're not
they
the
still
same like
there,
the
but
Aboriginal
they still
Australians.
there. It's still the
The
same. It's still
Aboriginal,
black people all over the world that's not from Africa. You got white, you got black people in China, Asia,
they might look black, but
Australia.
they're not genetically black. They're not genetically tied to Africa. Like if you
Man,
do
there
a
is no
DNA test on
genetic Africa. There is no genetic
if you do a genetic
Africa.
test on an
Race is not
Aboriginal
genetic.
Aboriginal
Race is
Australian,
not
if you
genetic. Race is not genetic.
I want to.
no, I'm talking about in terms of the
Race is not
science part.
genetic. That's already been proven. That's already been proven.
He
Now,
right
that's
about
one
that
thing
one.
science did say is race is not genetic. You
Yeah,
can't prove race
We're
with
not the
DNA.
same like no
social construct.
Aboriginal Australians. Just because the Australians look black does not mean that they're connected to Africa. Like some of them, a lot of times they're connected to those of Asian descent, right? I think they did a study or maybe some
It
type of
don't matter.
genetic test on them.
You got deeply
I
melanated
think they
people.
are
You
connected to
got
the
deeply
what they call it,
melanated people
Venezuelan people.
indigenous to the whole world. You got people over there in Asia with afros.
What you talking about?
Genetics ain't
Negritos, the
you can't
Negritos?
genetics don't even matter. You looking at
Genetics
black
matter.
people all
It
over the
does
world
matter
with
because it tells a
afros.
story.
Yeah, I understand your view on the outer Africa theory, but long
It's the
before the outer
foundation of white supremacy.
but long before the out of Africa theory, you had the ancient Greek historians who said that mankind originated from the Ethiopians, from the black people in the Ethiopians, because the builders of Egyptian civilization was builded by the oldest people, the oldest race on earth, and these were the Ethiopians. So that was long before the outer Africa theory.
That was just another theory too, though. And at the same time, you can look at some of these old maps from the 1500s, and America is called Africa. So I mean, we don't know what the hell going on.
But for one,
the
oldest people that were in America were not black people. The oldest people here were not black people because for one, the climate in America is not hot enough.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Like, no, that's not hot
you
enough.
can't say that.
Like it's too cold. It's too
UV
cold
rays
in
is
the
what determines
Americas.
melanin. UV rays is UV rays, not climate.
Yeah, but in Africa they got more heat over there. Of course, the people are going to be darker over there.
Dark-skinned people in Alaska. You got
but it's
dark-skinned
cold
people
in Alaska mainly.
They got high
But
UV rays. They got really high UV rays.
Brother, come on, man.
A dark native and a black person are two different things. Those are two different people.
Africa credit, man. Just give Africa his credit, man. Ancient Africans were the most superior race on earth during the ancient times, man. I mean,
that's all you saying. That's all you saying. You don't owe Africa nothing. This is all late 1800 pseudoscience.
They ruled the world.
That's all late 1800 pseudoscience. If you don't know, if you have not really studied Darwinism and eugenics, you won't even understand what's going on right now.
You got to give the ancient people, people of Africa.
Man, all that shit is made up. John Henry Clark.
So you don't believe that the real natives crossed the Bering Strait?
Well, you got to.
They was all making it up.
Hold on, I just want to say this real quick.
Predates America.
I mean, you got to understand that they have what's called pristine civilizations. Pristine civilizations would be Egypt, of course. You know what I'm saying? Sumer, of course. We know those two. Those are main ones. But then you also got the Indus Valley. You know what I'm saying? Popped up around the same time. You got the Yellow River civilization that pops up around the same time. And then you also got in the Americas, it's called the North Chica civilization.
What about Mapingué? What about Mapingué and the Knox civilization? What about
Mapingué in America than Africa?
No. You left sub-Saharan Africa out. You left out the Mapingué before the Great Shona Empire, right? That was a long time ago.
Well, we talking about like
culture. That was 3,000 years. That was 3,000 years ago.
The Nok is only 900 BC, bro. 1,000 BC.
Okay, I stand
corrected. I got books on that.
It's more than, but it's more than 900 BC.
But they don't go back. With BC, what I'm saying,
that adds another 2,000 years on that, so that is 3,000 years.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, Corral Supe is 3500 BC, just like Egypt is
Okay.
3500 BC.
But,
Just like
hey guys, I gotta read this last super
civilization.
chat that we gotta close out. Let's
Right.
see here. Landmark 22. Thank you for $2 holla. I was told my big mama was Indian. DNA says Angola. Savage Indios, thank you for the 30 jewels and the flower. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. To next time, family. Down is Amir. Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.